Hey, welcome. Cheers, by the way. Welcome to the humble abode.
Cheers.
Thank you for doing the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
My absolute pleasure. Not only did you make the long commute across country, you made the long commute across fucking LA. So
Dude, fucking traffic here is, I feel like I'm in fucking Jumanji or something, going from Santa Monica to here. Like everything takes extra hour. It's wild.
yeah, when we were setting this up and you're like, I'm coming from Santa Monica, it's not too far. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. May jinx the show from happening.
This is like 5 different countries in one little city. Well, not big city, actually. I mean, it's pretty big, but yeah, that's what it feels like.
Oh, and you haven't even like made it into the valley or the remote parts that are still technically fucking LA.
Yeah. No, but it's good to be here. Thank you for having me on again.
My absolute pleasure. In doing the little bit of research I did for the show, believe it or not, audience, I actually did a little research for this one. Half the time I'm just like, let's just get into it. I feel like your band has the only song about cuckolding that I think exists in.
Nice. I like it already. I'm glad I did this interview. Getting straight to the good shit. Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. Like I guess I'm, I don't want to be called cuck rock. That's probably not marketable, but
ironically,
yeah, Darryl is Darryl kind of sums it all up. What I do, because my day job is being a publisher and my passion's doing music, and I wrote a fucking cuckold rock anthem, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that song. I think it's a good song. The book actually talked about, and that was the seed of the song, is like, there's no cuckold rock songs, and that stayed with me. And then all of a sudden I was like, da-dun, dun, and then it was like, hey, Darryl, and then I was like, this song's fucking written. So.
And you mentioned GHB in the fucking song.
So that's in the book. The cuckold Darryl loves GHB. It's his drug of choice. I have to give a shout out to Jackie S., fucking brilliant writer. Like, my goal is like, you know what? If I can do a song that's half as good as this book, this is going to be a pretty good song. So it's all about Jackie. She's a brilliant writer. I was lucky enough to work with her, but the guys were like, you wrote a cuckold song? I'm like, dude, just hear it. And, it got some love got to give a shout out to Loudwire. That's like a pretty good magazine, to say the least. And, it's wild. You never know, man. Like, if you would have told me a couple years ago, I would get a Loudwire blurb for a rock song about a cuckold. That's life, man. That's life.
It's so wild. Have anyone from like who used as a derogatory term, like, attach themselves to the song at all? You got any feedback from it?
We did there's the other band called themselves Cuck Rock, but they're like doing weird like indie rock. So I guess like guys have called them like, you guys are cucks, and they've like embraced it. But no, most, the actual cuckolds have yet to go, it's funny. I need to, because I want to like get some more marketing going. So I'm thinking about going on Reddit and like putting it in the cuckold section. Like, I'll do it under like a pen name, but like, check out, there's a cuckold anthem. And I'll get, they need representation too, it's a funny term because I remember there was that movie Cuck that came out, which was, I got to admit, it was no disrespect to the director. It was not a good movie, but I kind of found it funny, like in that like ridiculous way. And it was just such a fucking huge word. Everybody was like, you're a cuck, man. You're a cuck. I feel like that term has died down. I don't know. What do you think? Like,
it's still here, but
it's still here.
It's mostly with 12-year-olds on fucking the internet at this point.
Like, it just keeps getting lower to like now the 13-year-old edgelords instead of like the 22-year-old edgelords.
Yeah, the 13-year-olds are like, you cuck. I'm like, you haven't even seen a fucking vagina. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
But and I'm not here to kink shame people that are legitimately into it either.
Yeah, no, one of my day jobs was I was a porn store clerk for about 2 years. This was a while ago. This was like I was young, and it was mostly predominantly like older black men that would come in, and there was just like this one white dude that would always come in, and every time he got a cuckold video, and I was like, and he had cuckold vibes, like you could tell that was his whole thing. And, no shame, if that's your thing, I asked this, I remember I used to do the podcast game back in the day, and I had this really cool, she's into like kink and fetish, Devora Gray, shout out to Devora. And I asked her, I'm like, are cuckolds weak or strong? And she said, they're actually alphas. And I was like, what? And she's like, she said, these are the guys that have enough strength to deal with their, wife fucking better guys and all that, or their girl. And I don't know if I still agree with that, but it was an interesting perspective.
Well, it definitely takes something to be like, oh, hey, not only am I okay with you fucking other people, but I get off on watching you receive pleasure.
Yeah. And like feeling inadequate. There's a whole other thing with that. I mean, that, and I mean, like in the song, I only feel alive when someone better is inside of, her. And it's like, there's a whole psychology that's it's really fascinating with cuckolds, and it's funny. I mean, it was like, I lived this life, doing the book last year. It came out, where are we? We're in April. So it came out, like, the year anniversary is coming up for the Darryl cuckold anniversary for the book. And now it says this whole new life as a song. So I've cuckold. God bless the cuckolds. They've done good things for my life.
Do you feel like you've succeeded if Darryl becomes a new, like, derogatory term for a cuckold?
I feel like Darryl. Yeah, you're a Darryl. Wow. I never even thought of that. I think Jackie should get credit for that, not me. I mean, Jackie was the one, but, and that was the other thing too. The book, like, it's interesting as a musician with a day job, like most musicians we have shitty day jobs, and I actually have lucked out. I have a weird skill, you had Seilinger on. I'm actually his editor. I'm actually good at editing books. It's the one marketable skill I have. I don't have any other marketable skills. I'm just like, oh, this book should do that. And so instead of like working at fucking Kinko's or, Starbucks, I'm our Guitar Center, which is a good job for musicians. There's worse fucking jobs. Or bartender or Guitar Center. I'm actually an editor. So I'm lucky to have a decent semi-cool job while making music, but all the props go to Jackie. She's the queen.
All right, so you heard it here, folks. If Darryl becomes You're a Darryl, we're giving it to Jackie.
Give it to Jackie. She's earned that. Yeah.
You gotta bring that back to Jackie, let her know.
Yeah, I'll let her know. She'll probably listen to this. I'll be like, hey, we talked about Darryl. She's cool. She's an awesome person.
I don't think anyone who writes a book about cuckolding is an uncool person. Like,
she's the best. I mean, like, that the first chapter, I read this chapter. A friend gave it to me, and she's like, Christoph, and shout out to her, Lindsay Lerman. And Lindsay Lerman is like this she's a PhD philosophy, like, just eloquent. She just, like, for whatever reason, that shows where publishing's a fucking shithole. She shouldn't have been publishing with us. Like, she should have been with a way better press. But, we got her, and I'm happy we got her. She's like, my friend Jackie, she wrote this book. It's really readable. I don't want to say too much, but I think you might be into this. It's very transgressive. And I go, all right, we'll see. And I read this first page, and it's about this guy named Darryl talking about how he needs to see his wife fuck LeBron James. And it's the greatest opening chapter ever. And I was like, unless this totally falls apart, I'm publishing this book. I mean, it was just, and I'm a huge sports guy too. So it was just like, all right, I'm in. And
spoilers for the audience. Does she succeed? Does she get LeBron?
He doesn't get LeBron. I feel like that's okay. I can, and he didn't even make the playoffs. So sad for LeBron. Sorry. Are you a Lakers fan?
I'm not.
Yeah, you don't give a shit about it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Chicago, and like, I enjoyed the Dynasty Bulls, but otherwise,
yeah, you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
the only sports I get into are like sweaty men punching each other.
That's cool. I can respect that. But yeah, no, I mean, it was fun. It was a fun book to edit and put out, and a song came out of it, and hey, here we are talking about Darryls and cuckolds. I mean, what a great life. Right?
Who would have thought 10, 20 years ago, like, this would be a topic of conversation for talk radio?
Yeah. We're in exciting times. I'm an optimist, I think we're, there's a lot of terrible shit going on in the world, but there's also beautiful moments like this, I
agree, but this is still not the dystopia I signed up for.
No, that's true. That's true.
I want fucking Blade Runner-esque neon lights everywhere. And
It's just gonna be lame. The stove. It's just that's life right there. I'm very old school, old school like Italian Jew. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna get it, but it's gonna be fucking boring and kind of lame. It's just like, little pricks of each day that kill you. That's my opinion on it.
as our corporate overlords get bigger.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. Yeah.
Hey, I'm really looking forward to see how Amazon kits out their army.
I mean, it's going to be, I think it's going to be like machines. I think it's going to be Terminator. I think we're on our way there for that.
My whole theory on when it becomes machines is like, they're not going to do it like in Terminator. They're not going to be coming at us with laser weapons and shit like that.
No.
Biological warfare.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, my opponent has to breathe and I don't. Why would I fucking bother with nukes?
Yeah. No, it's scary to think about. It's scary to think about with machines. But I mean, I don't know. It's like, I'm already like, I'm charging my phone and there's that part of me is like, oh, where's my phone? It's not here, So the singularity is already happening.
One of the things I love about this medium is like, when was the last time you actually got to sit down and talk with someone for an extended period of time without staring at your fucking device?
It's a beautiful thing. No, I'm like happy to do a podcast again. It's been a long time, especially in person, because I was in New York and you had, fucking COVID and all that shit. And it was just like, this is dope to just actually have a conversation. And we're like pretty much strangers.
Yeah.
We've texted like 10 times, I would say. That's it.
You're not even saved in my phone. Like that level.
Yeah. I just like, we have each numbers.
Right.
I haven't even like put the name in. So yeah.
Right. There's no name. There's no picture.
But that's kind of great. I mean, that's the benefit of being in like the digital age. It's easy to set this up. And I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm, publisher and musician. Shit's easier to do.
Oh, 100%. To have this level of recording technology even 15, 20 years ago would be fucking unheard of or prohibitively fucking expensive.
And everybody has a shot to do something, and that's I don't know, that to me is great. You need a little funds, but if you can get some funds, you can get some good gear, and anything can happen.
Hell, you don't even need good funds. So there are definitely people doing this with their fucking iPhone. Like,
that's true. So yeah, I mean, like recording though, even with like, I'm thinking of music too. Like you can fucking do it on your computer now. I mean, I'm really lucky. My bandmate has a studio, and that's why like I'm able to kind of wear these, like basically do these two passions at the same time, because that makes shit way easier.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I did some work in music in the mid 2000s, and like booking out studio time was always the fucking worst.
I did it. I had this band that totally bombed. It was about 10 years ago. The Only Prescription was the name. And we did studio time. And me and my bass player, we hated each other. And she got a singing coach to be part of the recording studio. And look, he's just kind of a very flamboyant theater guy. And like, I'm trying to sing this like love song, Rachel. And he's like, she's in the bedroom. Tell Rachel what and it just fucked me up. And they're probably in YouTube somewhere. It's like, they're terrible. The recordings are awful. It was like the worst experience. And I'm like, I paid $2,000 to just, it was just devastating. Cause that's not cheap. Like, so now I'm like, okay, let's take another take. It's like having steroids, basically, when you have your own studio.
Yeah, it's just like, okay,
it's so much
relax,
easier.
Go have a drink, have a cigarette, whatever you got to do.
Friends. I don't have a theater guy telling me to give her bedroom eyes or whatever. Like, oh, man, it was a disaster.
See, and that's proof that a good producer versus a bad producer can make or break a fucking album.
Oh, yeah, man. No, producers, I mean, I guess I'm biased being an editor because I feel like editors are producers of books. It's the same. Like Sean's the producer. Our guitar player, Sean, shout out to Sean Quinn Hanley. He was the producer. And he just, oh yeah, you should try it with this. Made it better. I mean, it's just, makes me look so much better than I am, basically. I mean, that's what's great about having an awesome producer. Yeah, you're totally right.
And a bad one's just like,
oh, it kills you.
Yeah, you don't even want to show up to the sessions.
You wonder, like with some bands, like you hear a bad recording and you're like, is this band actually bad? Or is it the recording? And you never really know. You know if they play live and they're good, then that fucking producer needs to get a new job.
Or the other side of it, when like you see them live and like, oh, they're fucking horrible.
Yeah,
live.
No, that happens. That happens. We finally got to play shows. We've literally played three. We like formed in 2020 during COVID, like a full band. we've played like 3 shows now, you know, and it's like we were actually good for 2 of them. So 2 out of 3. The first one was just, you got to get the first one out of the way.
100%.
It was just like, all right, that's the time to have a horrible show. You're first to new bands listening to this, new musicians, let your first show really fucking suck. Do everything wrong, videotape it, and then go, okay, what do I have to fix? And just be brutally honest. Then after that, we're like, oh, okay, we're actually pretty good live. All right, we're not just a good studio band, you know, and that helped.
And don't invite the friends and family out for the first.
No, it's just not the first 3 on it. Honestly, the first 5. You know, I've other bands I've done it, but you know, practice a lot, man. It's just that basement. If you have that, I mean, I'm lucky I have a basement. That's become my best friend.
You have a basement in New York?
New York. Wait. I'm in upstate.
Oh, okay.
I'm in upstate New York, which is cheap. And honestly, like, I lived in New York City for a little bit. I have to say, I am fucking Team LA all the way. Fuck New York City. Look, I loved it there, and I lived there for 4 years, but it's just not worth it. You know, upstate, I have a yard. I have a fucking yard, man, and like a basement. It's amazing, and it's like I have a cheap house. Like, it's just, I mean, I live in this town called Troy, which is just like a mini Brooklyn, you know, and you know, just the hipsters have not found it yet. So I'm like, maybe I'm the first hipster or whatever. You know, that's fine.
You're the hipster of hipsters?
I'm the hipster of hipsters. I'll wear that title proudly. But you know, it's nice. I love Detroit. But yeah, no, I mean, it's living in upstate made it so much easier to like start a business with a press, you know, just save so much money. And I have all my friends in New York City, and they're probably making more than I do. And, you know, and do it, you know, I have good freelancers and they're living, you know, paycheck to paycheck, but it depends. Like, you know, at the same time, you have a lot more shit happening in New York City. Same with here, you know, it depends what you need. I mean, as a writer, it would be better to be in New York City, but as a publisher, I'm fine, you know? So.
Yeah, they have to submit to you. So.
Yeah. So it works. And we go down there. We're actually going to be down there in May 3rd doing a reading. So it's like a 2.5 hour drive.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Like, being in places like New York or LA is like, you want to be here for the action, the networking, like the opportunities. Yeah. But if you're already got a set base and don't have to be in these places.
No, yeah. It's a weird thing to go from like, it's weird, like as a press, like it's funny because like as a press, I feel like solidified. We're doing good. Like we're gonna publish fucking Eve 6, the Heart in a Blender guy. We're like publishing his memoir. We have a lot of good authors. You know, Michael Seilinger. We were talking about him earlier before the show. Very blessed, man. Like I'm really lucky to have like a day job that I love that actually pays the mortgage. You know, I do freelancing and stuff. You know, but as a musician, I'm totally new. So it's like, it's interesting to have one thing which is like solidified and another thing where you're just trying to get it rolling, you know.
Where do you find time of the day to do both?
You know, I do the publishing stuff in the day, and then I do music stuff at night, and I'll, you know, that's kind of how it is. And I try to like find time, you know, with the woman, with the lady. And you know, I find it, but I'm tired all the time. And I have to stop. Like, I tweet about being tired, and it's like, that's probably not good to do. You know, as you're trying to build yourself up as like a cool rock guy, and just, oh, I'm fucking tired today. I got to stop doing that.
Hey, it's just fucking struggle because you're just like, well, I just want to be sincere with my audience. And then it's like, no one really wants the sincere rock star.
No, you know, I'm kind of like just hoping people start thinking I'm on heroin. I know that's bad for a publisher, but you could be a publisher on heroin. Like, you know, I'm just like, it would be better than just, yeah, I'm editing books all day and dealing with bullshit because we like joined a distributor, and it's like there's so much lame ass boring shit that comes with being a publisher. Like, the book stuff is cool, like editing books, curating, that stuff's awesome. Then you're like, okay, I got to figure out what print run to do. I have to do royalties. I have to email this person for a millionth time about publicity. It's like, that's the boring shit, but it's pretty dope though, you know.
So many people don't realize the business that goes into like anything fucking creative. Like, hell, doing music, it's like, oh, at some point you're going to be like, I have to do inventory for merch.
Yes.
For fucking any physical media you press, all that fun shit too.
No, and it's funny because I have to deal all that shit with, being a publisher. Like I'm here because I did the LA Times Book Festival. I'm wearing the publisher hat way more than the musician hat while in LA. And, I got, deal with the books. Actually, my friends played a prank on me that we got all our books stolen, like writers. And I was like, I'm run down because I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. What are you? I literally was like, yeah, fuck it. What are you going to do? They stole books. It sucks. But they're like, no, we were just playing a prank on you. But
they were probably so disappointed about that reaction.
No, yeah. They're like, I have like these two like edgy writers. One I published and one's like her boy toy or whatever. And the boy toy like is the naughty one, and he's like, yeah, let's play a prank on Christoph that the books got stolen. And I was just like, yeah, fuck it, what are you gonna do?
Guess we're making an insurance claim.
Fuck
it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's LA, man. I shouldn't have left those out. But
right, they're part of a homeless encampment now.
I was like, fuck it. I mean, that's people want to steal books. Like people don't steal books. There's part of me that like subconsciously knew like, nah, people steal music. People steal food. It's very rare people steal books. It's just, I wish people would steal books, honestly.
Right? Like, that's free marketing. Fuck it.
No, yeah. I just would look at them like, all right, that's our marketing for the week. All right, move on.
There's just copies out in circulation. Fuck.
But LA is cool. We did a reading and stuff, and did the book festival. It was cool. I got to meet David Duchovny. That was kind of dope. Got I know him from.
Was he playing Hank Moody, or
he might as well have been because he's a writer, But it's like I go way back to David Duchovny. Like I can remember being a 12-year-old boy, and I know that I knew him. I can't remember. Did I know him through X-Files first or through Scrambled Porn? Because those
fucking Red Shoe Diaries,
man.
Yeah, I'm an old man. I know.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, I'm like an elder millennial. So I think I was just on the cusp. I might have been even pre-puberty, honestly. So I might have not even whacked it to Red Shoe Diaries. I'm trying to remember here. I remember there was one that was my go-to, was like the Bordello or something. There was like, women's stories of passion. I'm a male feminist probably because of women's stories of passion. No, it was like boring ass, scrambled porn. I'm like, this is kind of fucking boring. But there's boobs, so all right, So I remember that one. But yeah, that's like an elder millennial and Gen Xers, like for especially the dudes. There was a time of scrambled porn.
Yeah, the children today will never understand.
They'll never get it. There's like I go on Twitter and I'll see like fucking butthole pics. Like people are showing their butt. Like I'm not a prude. All right, pussy pics. All right, fine. That's a vagina. Okay. Look, that makes babies. Okay. I think where my line. It's like butthole. That needs to be something intimate. Like,
does it?
I would say like that's like you've been dating.
You've never had anal sex on the first date.
Not on the first date. I think like the close. Oh yeah, no, I dated this. She was a MILF. She was the first MILF I ever hooked up with. I was 20 and she was 26.
She's a MILF by like porn standards of MILF. Okay.
Yeah. Well, she's had a 6-month-old, a 9-month-old. So she was the technical MILF. She might have been 28. I don't know. I know I turned 20 and we hung out, and it was like right around my birthday, and we're like, I mean, it was just like, it was a good match because she's just like, she got her sex drive back after having a kid. I'm horny as hell as a 20-year-old. I've had sex, but it's like, it's like, this is a woman. This is not just another college or my high school girlfriend. And it was just a great match. And I remember, I'm like, we've just done everything. And it's like, hey, let's try anal, and she's like, do you have lube? And I go, I have shampoo. Does that work? Like I didn't know shit about anal sex.
I mean, at 20, I didn't know shit about it either.
Yeah, I did not know a damn thing. I was just like, I did not know you needed lube. I mean, I was just not. I knew about sex. I did not know about anal. I'm just like, let's just try everything. And no, she did not want to have shampoo anal sex. Go figure.
amazing. That prude. Fucking prude. Didn't want, it's Johnson & Johnson's No More Tears. Come on.
I think that was like the first time I learned that it does help if you actually have like a connection with somebody. Because I'll never forget, we actually go get dinner. So we were like actually gonna have a conversation that doesn't involve, we just have like great sex. And it's just like, I'll never forget. So this is like I don't even know when this was. It might've been 2006, 2000. I lost track. But she's like, so what about this war, man? And I just, that way she said that, she just didn't know. I mean, it was just like, we have nothing going on. We have nothing in common. We just like, so we lasted about 3 dates and we still never had anal sex though.
That's a goddamn bummer.
I know. That's why young guys have lube.
Old guys, everyone have lube.
Have lube. Don't use shampoo, have lube. That's my PSA.
Conditioner doesn't work either.
What's that?
Conditioner does not work either.
No. Head and Shoulders, not good for anal sex.
No. Ooh. That sounds like unpleasant for everyone involved.
Yeah. I mean, it'll keep dandruff away, but
I'd be a little worried if there's dandruff on her, on her pubes. Like, if your pubes are flaking on me, I might be out in the first place.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Mm-mm.
That would be horrifying. Yeah. And I've done some horrifying things, but that might be my limit. I think we found my limit, folks.
Yeah. I'm just like funny because I forget I'm like a serious publisher. I always imagine like Christoph Paul demands girls to have Head and Shoulders anal sex on Reddit or some like literary blog. I'm gonna get canceled. Yeah.
Hey, God willing.
Yeah. Hey, Head and Shoulders. You want sponsorship? Christoph Paul, Twitter, Instagram, Dionysus Effect. I'm giving you gold here, Head and Shoulders.
The way I look at it is the public has to give a fuck about you to cancel you. So
yeah. Not probably there yet, so that's good.
Through time. So. The best will be in 10 years when they go back and listen to this interview. Then they come forward.
No, it's going to be like Christoph Paul, multi-platinum artist. Uh-oh. But wait, did you know what he liked to do with Head and Shoulders shampoo to a poor single mother?
Right? He only took her out for 3 dates and he was out when there was no anal sex.
Didn't like her stance on the war. I don't even remember which fucking war it was. Could have been. It's probably Afghanistan.
I mean, at that point, it's like dual. Iraq, Afghanistan at the same time. At that point,
yeah. Who knows? But
the Middle Eastern problems.
Yeah, the Middle East. So, oh man, I'm gonna have a sip after that one.
But it's okay. It's a-okay to like spend time with someone that the only thing that you have in common is rubbing genitals together. That's okay.
Yeah, no, especially in your 20s. That's the time to do it. I'm in a relation, like committed. I'm married. I'm in that now. But
how long have you been married now?
We've only been married like 3 years, but we've been together for like 7. So yeah, we're in it for the long haul. But miss her. Looking forward to getting back. But yeah,
some Head and Shoulders anal sex when you get home.
Yeah, to
course. Celebrate.
Yeah, she knows what I like. She's got all the head.
She's got fresh bottle weight, and she's got to crack the seal for you. Like, baby,
that's my girl. That's my girl. Head and Shoulders all the way. But yeah.
It's amazing like how much you will put up with this. A dude like, oh, sex is good. And then, oh God, you talked. Fuck. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll hit it a couple more times. Maybe.
Yeah, no, guys we're awful. We'll just we'll stay with it. We'll stay with it until something. The only reason why I wasn't with her is because I met this girl at fucking Denny's. Out of all places, she was my crush because I would go there when I'm a writer too. I'm more of a publisher, but I would like to go to Denny's and write. And there was this like mysterious girl at Denny's. She was the Denny's girl. And I was just like, and I was with the MILF, the young MILF, and then like the Denny's girl and me talk finally. The mysterious like Denny's girl. She would just go there and draw. So she was an artist, so that made it hotter and all that. She ended up being crazy, but we went out for like 4 months. But yeah.
Hey, the crazy ones are fun.
Yeah, she was fun. It was a great it was like 3 dates and it was 3 months. I was easing my way. Now I'm married and all that shit. So
that is another thing that I don't think millennials will ever get to like the Gen Zers or the younger millennials will ever really get to experience just going to a Denny's to hang out.
Yeah, that's more elder millennial and Gen X for sure. I mean, it was, yeah. I would go like right at Denny's. It was like my spot to like, I'd work on books and stuff there. Yeah, man, Denny's. I guess it's, I did see, what was that? There was that band, like, What the Fuck's Up, Denny's? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the hardcore band, yeah.
Yeah, the hardcore band. So there's still magic at Denny's.
But
it's not the same.
I know my elder, like, it was either IHOP or Denny's, like, open 24 hours, a cigarette smoker at the time, like,
yeah,
hang out, smoke cigarettes for hours, barely afford a cup of coffee and some fries.
It was
some
a
poor
spot. It was a spot for artists. It's like, it's like you have like, you picture fucking all these like 1920s Parisian famous fucks, like, what was it, Hemingway and Fitzgerald that are fucking hanging out in these like fancy French cafes. And you have these millennial and Gen X writers in fucking Denny's. And that says it all right there. Like we got the raw deal.
I honestly feel like those guys, their French cafes were probably romanticized. They're probably shithole French cafes.
Shitholes. Yeah, you're right. No, they probably fucking smelled like shit, and they were like, the drinks were fucking awful, and
But that's still fucking amazing.
Yeah, you're in Paris though, yeah. I would take that. I would take that over Denny's. No disrespect to Denny's. Denny's is a magical place, but a Moons over Miami versus like, a Parisian cafe in the 20s. It's probably Parisian cafe.
Yeah, probably, but we'll
never know.
We'll never know, and we don't get to live. Know. We don't get to live that life.
It's not the same now, Denny's. It's just not the same. I went, I remember going again when the pandemic like started to let go, and I'm like, no, I just wanted like I got to experience Denny's again. I was gonna go like do my own writing there, and yeah, it's just not. It doesn't have the magic. There was a romanticism to Denny's.
Well, there's not a bunch of teenagers sitting there smoking cigarettes.
No.
Or smoking cloves.
Yeah. That's, oh God, you're taking me back, man. Yeah, that was a time. That was a time you could smoke at Denny's. Wow.
Oh yeah. We just like whole fucking groups of us sitting in the smoking section.
Yeah.
There was a Denny's out in the suburbs.
Just old enough to remember that. So,
Yeah, there was a Denny's out in the suburbs of Chicago that my friends lovingly refer to as the scene Denny's.
Mm-hmm. That's the artistic scene of the suburbs, really. Denny's. There's no like cool cafes. I mean, those have popped up more now. That's another thing too, and it's interesting because I know, today's a special day on Twitter. And I'm thinking about that, like, like you had like Denny's, and you had maybe like if you lived in the suburbs, Denny's and like an open mic. And that would be like your artistic it. That was it. You get shitty poetry, mediocre comedy, and maybe if you're lucky, a decent singer-songwriter who, but usually they were bad.
Yeah, usually they're like got up with an acoustic and like, this is gonna be horrible.
Yeah. So you just had a lot of bad art, but people came together. And I think social media has actually replaced that. I have a whole thing where like Twitter. You see a whole weird, because I'm like part of all these different worlds, I'm part of music, I'm part of writing. I love a lot of comedians, and they're all like kind of fighting now because they don't have to put up with each other. At the open mic, they all had to tolerate each other. Like the ultra woke poets had to deal with like the edgelord comedians and the musicians who just literally are just narcissists who don't care about anything but their own music. Had to learn to be nice and have social skills. And now, you're just online promoting your own shit. And then the poets now they don't have to deal with the comedians. And the comedians don't have to deal with the poets. I know they're happy about that. So you have these worlds that are not cross-pollinating any world. And I think it's actually part of why Twitter and social media sucks. Because there was something good about people who naturally wouldn't like each other having to be forced together and learn from each other, and you don't have that with social media. You don't have to do an open mic. You can fucking go on TikTok. You can go on YouTube. You don't have to deal with artists you wouldn't want to deal with, and it's kind of shitty now.
I wholeheartedly agree. And hell, one of the other things that social media has changed up is there are no fucking tastemakers anymore. For better or for worse. Worse. I'm drinking.
Yeah.
For better or worse. The gatekeepers and tastemakers helped in some degrees.
I do miss them. It's tough. I mean, I went from like putting shit on hold as a musician, and like I stopped for a while. I stopped like in 2015. I kept writing, but I was just like, I'm this band shit's killing me. I just took a break from it. I'm like, I'm gonna switch in. I started to switch instruments. I went over to bass. I was still a singer, but I was like, I'm gonna go back to bass. And now I'm like, we've got an album coming out, and it's a whole new world though. It's like, you had streaming in 2015, 2014, but it's different. There was no Spotify when I stopped. Like 2015 is kind of the first time Spotify. Now it's all about Spotify. And it's just there's playlists, and you have tastemakers, but it's just not the same.
It's not the same. It's not like before radio went completely corporate, where you'd have some fucking program manager being like, I really dig your track. I'm gonna fucking spin it.
Yeah, I mean there's some good shit that's missed. You have some guy like I like the Melon guy on YouTube. What's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about? He's just known as Melon. He's like the bald vegan guy. I like the guy. I'm not trying to shit on him, calling him a bald vegan. He's a cool dude. His name's escaping me. But you have some people on YouTube that do that, but it's just not. It's not the same. It's harder.
Well,
it comes down to a playlist. Like we had our first single. We got lucky because we got on a fucking workout playlist, which is so funny. It's like we didn't get on the radio. We got on a workout playlist. So we know we're going to reach like normies who like want to like get upbeat to fucking work out. And that's great. Like I'm happy, but it's like that's such a weird thing than like we got on the radio or it's just a different thing for musicians now. I mean, it is what it is, though. I'm a realist. I'm very much like, all right, this is the way it goes. Let's make it work.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just an old man, like reminiscing about the days of like, oh hey, if you have talent and someone puts you on, versus like, oh, I have to be so good that I fucking stand out from the noise these days, because that's really where you're at.
And it's interesting, like doing the Darryl song. You're like, how do you promote it? Like we tried, like, okay, let's use the publisher angle. Maybe that'll be fun, and that actually just made things harder because it's just like people's attention span. So we went from like, oh yeah, it's a publishing, it's a book. No, rock song about cuckold. Oh, okay, it's interesting. Let me check that out. You have to just totally pander to that, like a short attention span. And then it's just how it is.
100%. I mean, there's a reason that TikTok has taken off, and that both YouTube and Instagram are completely embracing short form shit right now.
Yeah. I mean, in songs, I mean, and like, these like virtuoso musicians, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if you can do a 5.5 minute, song anymore. I don't know if audiences are going to like stick around for a minute intro. I just don't know. Like, I want that. I'm a let's play 3.5 minute songs. I'm all right. I'm going to be fine. But, really serious musicians, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know if people under 30 are going to like stick around to like feel that 45-second guitar intro. I don't know.
Some of my favorite albums are like 8 to 10 minute fucking songs.
Yeah. And that's the difference between kind of like Gen X. And it's interesting because like we actually get a lot of Gen X. Like Darryl's very grunge. It's very 90s, guy who set up the show. Robert Dean, like he's Gen X dude, and he's like, fuck yeah, this is like, I mean, I love 90s and 2000s, as a millennial, like I love that shit. But it's like, it's tough. If you go back to the 80s, I don't know. I don't know if you can go that far.
Well, and you don't want to go that far. 80s was the most homogenized decade of music.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the 80s.
I do actually have a soft spot for 80s pop, but it's pure nostalgia.
Yeah.
I have a sister who's 10 years older than me, her idea of babysitting is to sit me in front of 80s MTV.
I mean, I definitely am a millennial in that way. Like, I rather listen to the fucking Killers than like 80s shit. I'm like, oh, I'll just listen to the Killers. There's some synths. This is good. For me, like, but I like some Depeche Mode, some Duran. I like some of that kind of The Cure. I can get into like the kind of goth 80s. That's like it for me.
A lot of the like synthwave stuff is a lot of fun.
A lot of the what?
Like, the new wave, the British new wave.
The new wave was cool. Yeah. I mean, I have actually a weird soft spot for like Motley Crue. I don't know why. I can't logically say why. Like, I think it's just they're fun. He's a good drummer, great guitar player. Vince is whatever as a vocalist, but I mean, he's a good vocalist. He just, I like and Mick. I love the big bass. Not Mick. Nikki Sixx's bass. I just got love for that dude. But yeah.
And what other drummer can steer a boat with his cock?
Yeah. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was no, not. I mean, yeah. Of course you watched the porn.
Yeah.
I mean, did you watch the recent TV?
I did not.
It is.
I
Okay.
saw the porn. I mean,
Yeah. It was fine. It was fine. Nothing special. But yeah.
I don't think the youngins will understand like how much Pamela Anderson meant to everyone back in the day.
Yeah. I was never actually that huge into Pamela, but I get it. I'm not a huge, I'm an ass guy, not a tit guy. So, it was just in the war of tits versus ass. I'm team ass. So I never was crazy about Pamela. I got it. She's beautiful, but it was just never was oh, this is going to be a spiritual experience to see her have sex with Tommy Lee. It was.
It really wasn't.
Yeah, it was just it was, and it was the first kind of what would be the postmodern moment. You're like, this isn't porn. Actually, this is something totally else. It's an intimate moment with two human beings. This is not, let me come on your tits kind of thing.
Right, and she honestly did, because it was an intimate moment. She didn't look like she was a ton of fun in the sack.
Yeah, she's they're making love and shit.
They're making love and, well, the canal's only so large and he could steer a fucking boat with it.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's I get it,
I mean, I know some people that are definitely into having their cervix bruised when they have sex, but that's not everybody.
No, that you got to get really lubed up for that. So, to each their own.
Hey, I'm not knocking if they're into it, but
yeah, no, to each, sex is a fascinating, interesting thing.
And we all got here from it.
We did. We really did. We always forget that. We think of sex as just the pleasure, but really is about, the reproduction and the eggs and the sperm and all that good shit.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Not planning to procreate?
No. I have.
Oh.
I let it out. I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't be saying that. But yeah, no, I procreated. I like it. No, I'm just one for me, and that's it.
What made you decide that you wanted to procreate?
I wanted to do it more than I wanted to do it less, and what it came down to. But I'm happy. Yeah, no, I'm a newly father. I'm it's hard because you're it's funny. I'll be posting shit about we did a cover of Get Low. So I'm here's this new song about fucking cum. And then I'll have oh, here's my adorable son. He's 3 months old, so
he's 12-month-old cum. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough with branding. You have to as a musician and a writer and all that shit. You're I just fuck it, whatever, let the music, and you gotta have a vibe. I'll dress up for shows, but at the end of the day, you just, you gotta just be yourself.
But it's a performance.
Yeah.
Who you are on stage or when you're doing any creative capacity is completely different than who you are.
It's a persona and performance.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just don't want to be dad rock. I don't want to get labeled.
I don't think talking about cuckolds in your song is going to get you labeled dad rock.
No. Yeah, the band's fans are interesting because we had the first single, which was this beautiful, ballad. It's U2-esque. It's about soulmates and all this. And we're all right, let's go with the cuckold song now. And now I feel bad for the fans. It's girls. I have to say, it's interesting to see. Women love the Stars song. Oh, this is about soulmates and all that. And dudes I didn't like the Stars song, bro. But the fucking cuckold song, that slaps. And now we just put out a cover of Get Low, a crunk crunch cover of Get Low for 420. And my wife said the greatest thing ever. She's this, I don't know how, but you made this dirtier. And I was so proud of that.
That's fucking impressive.
I ad-libbed. I'm there's a breakdown. And I'm you're going to shake your clit to this. And I just kept it. We kept it in. You kept it in. And then the ending is I'm a skeet skeet motherfucker, all and then it's what is it? How does it end? And it's I'm a skeet skeet. Yeah, I'm a skeet skeet all over her. Yeah. So we made it already. We just basically turned the ending into bukkake, which is kind of pretty much I think what the song was, anyways.
Yeah, Lil Jon was definitely that's.
And shout out to him for hooking us up with a license. I was worried because I'm I mean, we went through DistroKid and all that, but I'm like, we really took liberties with the song. You know, I had the line, it's Christoph and this B.I.H., not Little John or the Ying Yang Chens, whoever it was. You know, I put my name in it. I don't know why instead of ATL, I used Brooklyn, even though I'm not from Brooklyn, but I just kept it in because it's funny, you know? So
has Little John heard it?
I don't know. If I have a feeling he just has some, you know, they have somebody managing that and they're just like, okay, another Get Low cover. Cool. We'll make $50 to $500 off this, whatever. They gave the permission. So thank you, by the way. Thank you, whoever handles Little John's business.
We'll hand you some publishing money down the road. Little John, here you go.
Little John, if you ever want to work with a small press, I got your back. I am working with a musician, though. I should give a shout out to Max of Eve 6. We will be publishing the memoir of Max and Eve 6.
I'm curious. Have you ever thought about putting out a coffee table book of just his tweets?
So originally, that's what I was thinking about doing. I was like, this will make money. This would be easy. No, Max message. So once again, it all comes back to Darryl. So this journalist, her name's escaping me. She's a great journalist, but she on Twitter she showed the chapter, the Darryl chapter about why is there no cuckolds, songs? Why are there no cuckold rock songs? And Eve 6, who's, if you don't know, he's like prolific on Twitter. He has like a whole new life on Twitter. Saw that and he thought it was the funniest thing ever. And he started talking about Event Horizon being cuckolds. And I don't know if you remember that band.
Okay, I was about to say that.
She's everything you want, everything you need, but she's not me or something.
Okay, I was thinking of the Lawrence Fishburne movie.
Oh, wait, I totally just called. That's kind of fucking great. I just totally called this like lame as fuck rock band one of the best sci-fi horror movies ever.
I was like,
that's kind of great.
I was like, okay.
Vertical Horizon is the name, not Event Horizon, which is an awesome movie. No disrespect, Vertical Horizon, your fellow musicians. I don't mean to shit on you, but
just a little.
It was kind of a lame fucking song, and it definitely had like cuckold energy. But so we're like, hey man, we'll send you a copy. We got friendly with him, and I actually listened to the new. I'm not a fan of the old Eve 6, to be honest. Like, I know it's publisher, but I wasn't into pop punk. I like new metal. You listen to my own music, it's grunge. And then I listened, and I like indie rock. Like, I like the Dandy Warhols. I like, just good bands like that. And Eve 6 was fine, but I never was like, I'm like, okay, the Blender song, it's catchy, but it's not my thing. And then I go check out their new music, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, Eve's, I will say this, no bullshit. I think Eve 6 new music is fucking good. I think it's legit good shit. It's like what I wanted to see the Dandy Warhols do after they kind of blew up. And I don't, it's just they didn't capture that magic again like they did in the 90s and early 2000s. I love you, Dandy Warhols. I'm just being honest. I'm a huge fan. And then I'm like, I hear this song called like Black Nova by Eve 6. I'm like, this is fucking good, And I told him like, hey man, this is actually good. And we just started talking on Twitter, and I get a DM one day like, hey man, I decided to write something. And the best line ever, and that's when I knew I had to publish the Eve 6 book. It was the line about third eye blind guy talking about, hey, I don't want these guys on stage. I want girls with big tits, talking about Eve 6. And I was like, this is a moment in rock history. I need to be the editor of this. I need to publish this. Like, he gave me this taste. Like, it's funny. There's like a rock documentary that I love called the Defiant Ones, which is with Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. And Jimmy Iovine is like, he's got to get Trent Reznor with Nine Inch Nails. He's like, he's in another record contract. He's like, I'm finding a way to get Trent Reznor. He's the guy. And that's how I was with the Eve 6 book. Like, and I'm like, Clash is like known for publishing some serious literary fiction. I'm like, nope, I need the Eve 6 book. And we kept messaging him. And I found out he got some co-writers, because I think it's really hard to write a book. And when you're already in a rock band, so he found these awesome co-writers, and then I see them doing it. And I'm like, I email them. Like, I was on a fucking mission to publish the Heart in a Blender memoir. My poor writers are like serious we publish some like academics and literary people, and they're like, why the fuck is my publisher obsessed with Eve 6? But I was like, I gotta publish this. But yeah, we signed a contract. So either 2023 or 2024, there will be a Heart in a Blender memoir. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Like, that's probably one of the fun parts of my day job. I joke that, yeah, my goal is to actually publish Eve 6 is to get Steve Albini to produce my band. That's the next. That's really why I'm doing it.
You're playing chess over
5D chess. Publish Eve 6. He's friends with Steve Albini on Twitter. I slipped Eve 6 the demo, slip our songs, show him the Darryl song, and then he's going to send it to Albini, and that's how the Dionysus Effect takes over rock. That's the plan.
So
I'm laying
the
it out.
Dionysus Effect really blows up, what happens to the press?
So I've thought about this because, I'll be honest. I think we have a shot. We got some good rock songs, and it'll come down to, and I'm going to keep it real. If there's a rock revival, like if all of a sudden Zoomers and fucking millennials, they're like, hey, we actually like rock music again. We have a real shot to go somewhere. If that doesn't happen, who knows? I think we'll play some good shows. We'll have fun. Maybe make some money. Who knows? Maybe then the goal is like one of my favorite bands. They made it because shout out to them. I love the Gay Blades. They're not really around anymore. They're on hiatus. They got into a fucking Taco Bell commercial, and I was like, fuck yeah, my boys are getting paid. They got that Taco Bell money. So it's like, that's kind of the goal for like 21st. Like, if you started a band in 2020, you're like, okay, guys, yeah, we want to have fans. We want to have, groupies, all that shit. We need a commercial.
How do we sell out?
Yeah, how do we sell out immediately? No, it's not even a question of selling out. It's like, how do we do it? There's not even like, oh, do we got to, like, it's just, like, how bad is the corporation that we want to work with? Like, I can like talk about, I can deal with that. Yeah.
No Nestle, right? No Nestle.
Yeah, no. They're pretty bad. They're pretty, no. I've read up on that. No. See, there's a line. There's a line you got.
So what's your line? What is the line?
That might be it, honestly. That might be it. Just like, are you harming people, like, purposely and hiding it? That's probably my line, But yeah, no, I would basically still edit because it's kind of like weird. I've made this because I was more of a writer than a publisher. It was not like a dream of mine to be a publisher. It was just like, oh, I'm good at editing. I should mention this, and Robert, because that's part of my story. Not to get sidetracked, but
tangents happen on the show. Don't worry.
Mandy DeSandra. You probably don't know the name.
I do not.
So this is kind of how I stumbled into being a publisher. This was kind of after I was like, whatever. I took a break from writing, took a break from it. I was actually studying to be a shrink. And it was a weird time in my life. It was about 2014. I took a break from music. Took a total break. I was just like, this isn't happening for me, And that's all right. I like talking to people. We're having a good conversation right now. I think I'd be a decent shrink, I was sick of freelancing shitty books. Like, I was burnt out. I remember getting this guy's fucking journals. He's like, turn this into a book. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was burnt out. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to school and figure shit out. We ended up moving to New Hampshire. It was like, I went from New York City to New Hampshire because I had a really cheap ass place to stay.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's New Hampshire.
It's New Hampshire. No one wants to live there. I can talk some shit about New Hampshire later. They're not even worth talking shit about New Hampshire. Like, it's such a shitty place. Like, it's not even worth shitting on.
My one true New Hampshire experience was I had to go up there for work in like 2011, and my mind was blown because I had to go into the fucking commercial kitchens, and there were white people working in the kitchens. I'm like, this is hell on earth.
I'm not white in New Hampshire. I'm an Italian Jew, not white. I'm not white there. I'm something else that they don't like. Like, they're fucking racist, crazy people, New Hampshire. I don't give a shit. I'll never forget. And these were the nice New Hampshire people. They gave me a ride to the train station, and it was really cold. And they're like, oh, you can stay in the car. And literally, the first conversation is, so why don't you think Obama has his birth certificate? Like, that kind of shit. Like, birther, it's just like, and then they're talking about George. It's just like that kind of shit. George Soros, and how.
I'm still waiting for that check.
Yeah, I know. I want my George Soros check. But yeah, so we're in New Hampshire. I'm studying for a shitty university online to get a master's degree in psychology. And I'm like, okay, I took a break from music, took took a break from writing. I'm not freelancing anymore, and I'm doing school, and it's kind of a weird existence. I'm not miserable, but I'm not happy. And my friend on Facebook posts this picture of Kirk Cameron with a crocoduck. And this is why I'm an artist. The average person would look and go, oh, that's stupid. He's ignorant. There's evolution's real. Where does my mind go? Has anybody ever written a book about Kirk Cameron having sex with a crocoduck? And that's where my brain went. And for the next 2 weeks, I was obsessed with the idea. I'm like, I think this is... Because there was this weird genre, and I would follow genre trends. I'm always was kind of a publisher, I'd like always look at what's happening in literature. And I met these girls, and this is before I did my break. Before I was like, oh, whatever, I'm done with publishing. I'm done with everything. There was these girls, and I interviewed them. I don't know what happened to them. I think they quit writing. They were prolific, and they were dinosaur erotica writers. They fucking started a trend. I don't know if you ever heard of Chuck Tingle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so before Chuck Tingle, and we'll get into Chuck Tingle in a minute, because I think we have weird parallels. Not me, but my pen name, who I'm getting to. So I met these, I was a light bulb went off. Like, they planted a seed, and I was like, I want to interview these girls, taken by the T-Rex. I mean, it was just fucking girls, fucking dinosaurs. And I'm like, holy shit, like, you can even do that? Like, it was just like, I was kind of impressed. And I interviewed them, and I talked to them online. Like, I was one of the first people to interview them. I don't even know if that's online anymore. This is like 2013 I interviewed them. But I was like, holy shit, they're like, they're working their way through college writing dinosaur erotica. And I just thought that was so badass. So there was a seed planted. And then I ended up writing under a pen name before I retired for a little bit or whatever. I wrote... Do you remember the fetish about masking? It was about men dressing up in dolls. They would dress up as dolls.
I've never heard that one, actually.
It's called masking. There was a documentary in Britain, and it went viral. And one of my buddies, I've written some books as a writer. I wrote one of my books was Great White House, which is a shark attack on the White House. It was ridiculous. I'm not going to say it was a good book, but it was funny.
I mean, that sounds like it should be a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it was basically, let's rip off Sharknado and put a book out and have it be political satire. It was like, let's see if what happened if South Park wrote, that. So I did that, and, I just kind of petered out. But I wrote this, I chose this Mandy DeSandra, this pen name, and I did this masking story called The Masquerade Ball in DC. So this is like a fetish of dudes who like to dress up and be a living doll. So, and I was just like, this is so fucking weird. I'm going to write a story about it. I'll put it under a pen name so I don't ruin the writing career that was not happening really at the time. But I did that. And then I was like, the idea came to do the fucking Kirk Cameron and the Crocoduck of Chaos Magic. And I had to write this. And it was fucking wild. Jesus comes back. He has stigmata. Kirk Cameron fucks Jesus' hand. It was so just like, I just did not give a fuck. I'm like, all right, my writing career is already done. I'm going to write this for myself and just do something super transgressive, super ridiculous. And I'm going to put it out under Mandy DeSandra's Kindle. This is a joke, just to amuse myself.
I got to know one thing. Did Jesus use Head and Shoulders on his...
He was made... I don't know why this happened. So Jesus was made out of cheese, and hence he was Jesus. I just let my fucking crazy whatever you want to call it, take over. Are
there drugs involved with this?
No, I was completely sober with this book. And then I learned that the character, remember, did you ever watch Growing Pains?
Of course.
Okay. So it was right on that line, like I'm saying, the elder millennial. So I vaguely remembered it. And I did not know that the character who played Boner Stapone had passed away. And I was halfway done writing it. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, that's shitty. I don't want to, be it. So the ghost of Boner Stapone contacts Kirk Cameron. It just got wild. This thing made no fucking sense. Kirk, there's a crocodile. This guy named AJ or whatever. He jerks off on the photo of Kirk Cameron and a crocodile, and he makes a chaos magic spell that creates a living crocodile. There is not logic in this story, but it was funny to me at the time. All right, I should share this. My wife, she won't care because it's funny. So my wife is like really into New Age shit. And I'm not. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in any of this nonsense. She believes in, we're not an opposite couple, but like she loves like, what is it called? The bullshit, your birth chart, astrology.
Astrology. Yeah.
I'm like, this is bullshit.
Did she ask you like what time you were born and shit?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Who cares? But she's all into that. And like, she's pretty wild. I love my wife, but she's wild as fuck. And like she's calmed down. She's a mother now, and she's a publisher. She's serious, but at the time, she was into chaos magic, and I'm like, this is bullshit too. And she said, I showed lewd pictures so men could masturbate to do chaos magic spell, and I'm like, I was pissed. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, do something. Like, let's do something. Like, New Hampshire made her insane, basically. So no disrespect to my wife. Like, I get it. Looking back, I'm like, we were in New Hampshire. I probably would have done the same fucking thing looking back. And I would have let's have some dudes masturbate me and make a chaos magic spell.
No, you're supposed to make money from that, not make
That's what I was like. I'm like, at least make some money off this. She's like, no, that's not what it's about. It's chaos magic. And I'm like, I'm going to make fun of my wife. I'm going to troll my own wife with this stupid story. I'm going to troll my wife, Kirk Cameron, and I'm just going to have fun with this. And, I finish it. It's ridiculous. I find this like cover, this deviant art of a crocodile with like a bow tie. And I just make this cover. I put it out. This is 2014, I want to say. Yeah. And sorry. A week, couple days pass. Wonkette or something. Like, then another media thing looks at this, then another one, and they all like jump on it like fucking vultures, and this thing goes fucking viral. I make like a big sum of money writing this fucking crocodile book like a fucking moron. I actually forgot to take my name out of it, so my name Christoph Paul is in the book because I forgot. It's not copy edited. I didn't edit it. I was like, who cares?
You're a professional editor who's like, yeah, my own content.
I'm like, fucking who cares?
No one's gonna read this.
I'm like, nobody's gonna. I'm like, to be fair to myself, I was like, it'll make it more authentic that it has typos, and it worked in a weird fucked up way that it did. So this thing goes viral, and I'm like, holy shit, I just have a hit book. And then I'm like, I need to write more of these. And, it was a weird time too. My mom passed away. She was very sick. So I'm like, I go from basically being a broke loser in New Hampshire to I get this like big chunk of money from the crocodile book. My mom passes. So I get some money from her. And I'm like, holy shit, like I actually have a chance to do something, and my mom passing, like that affected me. And I start cranking out these Mandy DeSandre books. I did political erotic satire. And this was before even Chuck Tingle was doing them. And I love Chuck Tingle. I kind of pushed him. Mandy did, not me. I want to say that. I'm not Mandy. Mandy's her own thing. And that's a whole other story. I kind of see her as a whole other person. So he sees the crocodile thing, and then I do Ravished by Reagansaurus about Sarah Palin fucking a Reagansaurus dinosaur. I mean, I just did a bunch of shit. And I did even an erotic parody of there's this literary novel called, only people in publishing know this, but I was a troll. I was a literary troll. It was called City on Fire. This guy got paid $2 million to write this ridiculous 900-page book that nobody liked. So I do an erotic story about reptilians and all this nonsense called City on Fire. I do the same cover, and people in publishing were buying this book as a joke for each other because it was like, I just knew kind of how to troll, and I made some really good money being Mandy DeSandre. And I'm like, you know what? I like this. I like fucking publishing books. And, I'm a good editor. This kind of stuff is nonsense, but, I'm liking coming up with covers, coming up with stupid ideas, figuring out ways to like market it to the media. I was like, oh, okay, this is how the media works. Like I saw once one of them bites, they all bite. So I learned a lot of skills, and I was a decent business person with that. And also this is what happened too. I ended up getting in trouble as Mandy DeSandra, and this really pushed me to go toward publishing because I needed to find a new revenue stream. So there's an alt-right guy who I trolled named Mark Dice. Do you ever heard of him?
I feel like I've heard the name. I'm not really familiar.
So he's like alt-right. You know what I mean? Crazy conspiracy theorist, like QAnon type nonsense. Like I don't care if I really don't care if you're left or I don't care. But there's like that line. When you're going into crazy, when you're like making videos about Drake being a demon.
I mean, that's not true.
Nah, he's just a Canadian. He's a nice Canadian boy. But yeah, it's to be fair.
Oh man, mine. Drake's not a demon?
Drake's not a demon. Sorry. He's not in the Illuminati. Jay-Z's not either.
I mean, Jay-Z owns the Nets. He might be in
that. Actually, Jay-Z is, yeah. Jay-Z's in the
Illuminati. Come on. All right.
Someone
may come from me on this. How did Jay-Z get Beyonce if he's not in the Illuminati?
All right. Jay-Z is not a good example. He is in the Illuminati. He made a deal with Satan to get Beyonce. But I don't think Drake is that. So I do this fucking book called Drake Hotline Blinks Mark Dice in the butt. And it's a picture of Drake. Remember the stupid dance meme? It's that with this alt-right guy shirtless getting hotline blinged by Drake. And I just was like going crazy. I did not give a fuck. I'm just gonna I'm gonna troll these motherfuckers. Like I was getting high off the shit because I'm going from like a guy who really didn't have much success as a writer or musician to I'm making a living doing South Park erotica basically. And he contacts Amazon for libel, basically. Mr. Free Speech, anything goes. Which makes me kind of very I think these guys are all full of shit. These I'm a free speech because I'm 100% for free speech after this. I don't think anything should get banned. I don't care. This really affected me. But he was so like a dumbass though, thinking, okay, I should just take the book down. I do another book cover called the Illuminati. Mark Dice is gay and Illuminati stories or something. It's just something ridiculous. And I got banned. I got that book banned, and I got all my paperback books taken down from Amazon. They left the Kindles, which was good. But it was like, oh, shit. All right, this is not good. Because I was making some money on those paperbacks. It's just joke books people would buy. And I'm like, all right, I was thinking about doing a press. This might be the time to switch gears because I'm kind of getting kind of insane doing this. And it's hard to compete with Chuck Tingle. We're kind of one-upping each other. I remember by the time he did the Pounded by the Pound, and I was trying to do a werewolf erotic, a werewolf gay whatever in London. I don't know. I was like, I just can't keep doing this. I'm tired of being Mandy DeSandra. I'm a good editor. I'd like to write something a little serious. I ended up having an agent at the time doing the Mandy DeSandra stuff. It got her in doing The Great White House. So, I was like, all right, I'll kind of try to work on a YA novel, maybe something mainstream, and try my hand in publishing. And little by little, we kind of found our way. But it was Mark Dice kind of thanks, man. You're a fucking piece of shit, but you helped start this press that's published, all types of authors and cuckold books. And, thank you. I would have probably just kept doing Mandy DeSandra books more, and that would have fizzled out. That didn't have much of props to Chuck Tingle. I have no anger or anything at Chuck Tingle. I think he's the guy to do it. I'm glad he carried the mantle of bizarro erotica, political bizarro. He's amazing at it.
There's such a weird subgenre.
Yeah. And it's really meant for one person, maybe three, and yeah, I had a good run. So I ended up doing a few more Mandy books, but they were like horror. I did one, The Giantess Globalist Sperm War. I did one like making fun of the alt-right called Social Justice Warrior Snuff Film. So, I was like, I'm getting kind of worried about promoting these. I want to be taken a little more seriously. I am going to do one. You know what? I am going to go because I was just like, I've had a kid. I'm very like, I'm a serious publisher now. And, there's that side of you and, I'm a musician. But there's that side of me, that needs to like fuck some shit up. It needs to do something just weird and indulgent. So I am going to go back and do a Mandy. It's been like 3 years. I'll announce it on here. Do you remember the movie Audition? It was I believe it was Korean. It was a hardcore horror by Takashi Mikey. I'm saying his name right. Audition. It was about this guy. He pretends to have you know what? I don't know if I should even say the title. I should really surprise people, but it's going to be.
Oh no, I want to hear. I want to hear the.
So I was like, all right. So the other book that she's working on is called Chumming, which is about a shark attack fetish. So I'm doing just like, but I kind of got stopped with that, and I hadn't felt inspired. I'm like, this is actually kind of a lot of work to write this, basically crash with sharks. So I'm like, this is actually a lot of work. By the time like the second act comes, I'm like, oh man, this is going to take some serious craft. I don't have time to do this right now. So I thought of this movie Audition, which is about this guy. He pretends to have a movie audition to get a wife. And I do have like a certain type I really like. And I will lay that out here. I like pogs. Fat ass white girls. I like fat ass any girls, by the way. It doesn't have to be just white.
Self-proclaimed ass man.
Yeah, I look.
You're like, oh, I'll pass on Pamela Anderson.
I'm really an ass man. Like, yeah, the fact that I didn't even like, I just like a good size ass. I'm letting it out there. It's just, I know I say it on Twitter. I'm an ass man. Like,
so what do you think of Brazilian butt lips? Not to tangent too much, but
I'm not into, and I talk in my first book, The Passion of the Christoph, I talked about this. I'm not into any kind of ass implant. I think it needs to be natural.
Well, they're not implants. It's a fat transfer.
I understand, but it's just not the same. I don't know. I'm old school that way, like I'm not.
So why haven't you guys done a cover Baby Got Back then?
I felt more inclined with Get Low. I'm an Italian Jew. Get Low, and people who are like, oh, is that cultural appropriation? No, because Get Low is a bat mitzvah song now. So
is it really?
I think so. I think it's the official kind of bat mitzvah dance song now.
My I guess technically second cousin's bat mitzvah is in 5 days. I wonder if that's...
You're going to hear Get Low.
I'm not going to be there for it. I ain't flying to Chicago for a bat mitzvah.
Yeah, but it's... Get Low is like mainstream bat mitzvah wedding song. It's that song because they play the edited version, not the,
Well, fuck that.
Yeah,
you're a woman now. You should be able to hear the uncensored version.
Or bar mitzvah too, But
both. You're a man or a woman.
Yeah,
you have reached adulthood. You should be able to hear.
Hey, that's a good point. I'm with you there in spirit, But so yeah. So I was like, and I made a joke, and this is how book ideas come. I'm like, I'm thinking about we have a new single we're going to be coming out called "Don't You Tell Me." And I joke, like as a publisher, I'm like, oh, we need to connect with audiences. We need to be serious. We need to touch people's souls. As a musician, like. I'm talking to the guys. I'm like, let's just get a hot pog to dance to the song. This isn't fucking rocket science. Let's just have a hot pog. Do it. Whatever.
Sex sells.
Yeah. I'm like, this is a sexy song.
Think of fucking Whitesnake with
in the term, I'm like, I need to have a pogdition. And that term hit me. And all of a sudden, the book idea of audition about, so basically that's Mandy DeSandra. She is coming back to write the erotic hardcore horror novella Pogdition.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. I don't know when that's going to come out. We'll see. I want to take a little time to just write again. I'm doing a lot of publishing work. I'm doing a lot of musician work. But I want to just crank out like the old days of Mandy DeSandra when I just would crank it out in a day or two and write Pogdition. I've started writing it on my phone, actually. So I think I'm just going to write it on my phone.
Just write it on your phone, write it on the plane on the way home.
I actually did write it on the plane ride here. I worked on, Act 1. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So yeah, you hear it. You heard it here.
I got the scoop.
You got the scoop. And yeah, we will actually have a probably much better art, but our third single, which will be, I don't know when this appears, but it'll be probably mid-June. The Dionysus Effect will be putting out a third single, Don't You Tell Me, which will probably be better than Pogdition, but who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? You know, I mean, look, I'm very proud of this song. I think it's a good, like, it's kind of like Spoon meets the Stooges. I'm very excited about the song, but Pogdition, man, you just don't know. You know, you just don't know.
I definitely have some pogs.
My next Crocoduck.
I definitely have some pogs I can refer you to if you want to actually do a pogdition for your actual fucking video.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You know, we got limited time, so you know, if we don't do a pogdition video, we don't do a pog video. It's not the end of the world. You know, the song.
But it could. But it could be. It could be the end of the world.
Yeah, it could be. You know, I mean, every man needs a good pog. That's my kind of words of wisdom for the day. I'll drink to that.
I wholeheartedly agree.
So
I know a handful of them.
Yeah,
I could definitely introduce you to someone, and I'm sure they'd love to be in a music video.
Yeah, no, they just basically, I just want a hot pog to dance to this song. It's like a 3-minute, 30-minute song. That's it. I'm not trying to break boundaries or rules. I just want a hot pog looking good to this sexy rock song. That's all. You know, my you know, she's like, hey, the publicist I work with, she's like, we need a music video. I'm like, told the guys, like, let's get a hot pog to dance to this song. Let's keep it simple. Hey.
We will talk off air. I will, I'll break out, like, I know this person, I know some folks. If you're A-okay with having adult performers in your video, I know some folks.
That's the budget. That's the issue. All my money goes to the press. So, but yeah, we'll talk after. We'll talk after.
Hey, I know some performers who might just do it for the funsies.
That's cool. We'll all right. This is a conversation for after the show.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to have. Very excited to have. This is fun, man. No, I'm having a good time. You know, because I've been like basically like I literally when you're doing a book festival, it's like, hey, how you doing? And you have to make eye contact. You're Mr. Sales. Oh, you like that kind of book? Oh, that's great. Like I'm just like a total different person. So it's nice to not like be in that zone of just because that's what I've been doing. I've been at the LA Times Book Festival. A one-man band, basically. I got 2 suitcases of books, and I'm selling books about cuckolds, partying, you know. So yeah,
that's got to be just like total serious the whole time. No, we're not about that here. We're about having some fun.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what do you look for in someone you want to publish? Like what?
Oh yeah,
what kind of story?
I actually like this is the shit I actually like. Like I don't like the bullshit, but I actually really. I mean, I'm passionate about books, man. I mean, you really have. I heard a guy, shout out to Johnny Temple. He did a nice panel and he said, the greatest thing I've ever heard about publishing, it's a stupid fucking business, but we love books. Like I have always loved to read. You know, editing's fun in that, you know, in my own writing, it's stressful at times. You're like, oh, fuck, is this good enough? You know, where editing, basically what I do is I go, does the story working? It's like interactive reading. It's like video games for a book. That's how I really look at editing. So I like it. I actually am a weirdo who likes to edit books. If the band got big, basically what I would do is hire somebody to do all the fucking bullshit, and I'd still just curate and edit books. I could do it on the tour bus or whatever. Like, I've thought about this. I just pay some fucking schmuck. Nah, they're not a schmuck. They're a beautiful person who actually does that shit, because that shit sucks. I hate it, but right now I'm the one doing it because my wife just had a kid. We run the press together. But anyway, so like, you know, I mentioned earlier with Darryl, for example, right away, that voice, it's all about the voice. If I see this voice has something special, and I can tell in the first line. I've read probably, I want to say 7,000 submissions. I mean, I really don't think I'm over exaggerating. I think it's somewhere, it could be 10. I've lost track. Because we have open submissions for class books. If you want to submit, you will get me to look at your book for at least 15 seconds. And I will know in that first sentence is everything. And I can tell right in that first sentence, I can tell, does the person know their character? Have they thought about this book? Has the, you know, do they know the right rhythm? Like, I can just like, I'm like fucking Rain Man when it comes to books. I don't know why. Doesn't make sense. I don't think of myself as a very smart guy. But when it comes to like that first sentence, that first paragraph, I can just like see in the future. You know, it's a very weird thing. I don't know why. I can't logically explain why, but I can just tell. and I'm right like 95% of the time. 98. I would say there's a 2% where I might be wrong, but it's like, fuck it. I got other things to do. But it's the voice, the character, does the character grab me? Are they interesting? It's books are basically hanging out with somebody. I mean, that's what they really are. You're hanging out with a fictional person. If it's nonfiction, you're kind of hearing their life story. You're going it's like, can I go on a fucking road trip with this person? That's kind of what it is. You're like, okay, this is going to be like 2 days of my life, or whatever it is, however many hours. Do they have that cool voice? Do they have that story I want to hear? Do they have a sense of rhythm where it doesn't, it's not the same boring lines? They have some personality. It's tough. It's tough to write a really good book. That's the truth. Like, it's really hard to write a book that stands out from the pack. It's a hard thing. And, the truth is, though, writing's cool in that you can get better. It's actually a craft and skill where, singing, playing music, it's tougher. It's tougher, you can stick to your strengths. Like, I don't have a huge range, but I have a baritone that I like where it's at, so you learn, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses is. But, yeah, no, I mean, you just got to really excite me. You got to bring me back to being a kid and reading for the first time. You really have to bring that feeling to me, or really any editors who are really serious, but agents, all that shit. You got to make us not be logical. Let's forget. I don't want to think about selling it. Own my ass, it's dominate me. It's kind of, I'm like a sub, take me over. Fuck up my day, basically. I have other shit to do. Reading your book is not that important to me. So make it that it is. I think it's brutal, but it's I'm on the other side of that too. I'm a writer. I get it. Everybody wants to write a book now,
Not this guy. No. Nope.
Didn't you write a book?
I did.
Oh, I don't know. I was
No.
Googling you. Oh,
Fuck no.
Okay.
No.
I think I just saw a blurb from Robert Dean just about the podcast.
Probably.
Yeah. God bless you for not wanting to write a book. I like you even more. I already like you, but the fact that you're not I should write a book. I'm like,
there was a point in my life where I wanted to be a screenwriter.
Oh, that's cool. Screenwriting.
No, and I realized I don't have that in me either.
Hey, yeah, no, it takes a certain type to write a book. I give a shout out. I had a meeting today with one of my writers, Autumn Christian, and she just has it. She just has it. She is obsessed with getting better. She wants to get better. She wrote a dope book called Girl Like a Bomb, which is about this girl who, it's like a superhero sex story. It's fucking great. About this girl, if you sleep with her, you have self-actualization. She made it classy though. She made it literary, beautiful. So you know what I mean? And she just wants to get better. And I think that's what a writer has. They're more obsessed with wanting to get better than being liked. And that's what I look for, honestly.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I in my own screenwriting experience, the limited time I tried to do it, I could never get past my first fucking act. It was just oh no, I just got to keep revisiting it.
Yeah.
And
that's not a good sign.
No, it's a horrible sign.
Yeah.
I have found later in life that I am much better at poking holes in other people's plots than I am at writing my own.
Yeah.
Robert has bounced a lot of his stories off me over the years.
Yeah.
Where it's just that makes no sense, man. Or maybe punch it up this way. I've helped him punch up shit. But to actually fucking do it myself, no, not my skill set.
Yeah, no, I definitely would be the first to say I'm a better editor than writer. I did finish a book I'm really proud of. I'm going to look for an agent again. We'll see. It was kind of all the editor stuff finding its way into something I'm writing. But I don't have the need, I don't know, music's taken over. Music's really took over the last couple years. I'll probably write the occasional Mandy DeSandra nonsense, basically. But for me, music's my passion and publishing's my day job, And yeah, writing's fun. I can, but I've seen, I've not really written much this last 9 months. I'm fine, but I'm writing songs, and that energy needs to go. So I'm one of those guys where I need to be doing something creative or I get kind of nutty. I
feel that's healthy.
Yeah,
the people that I don't comprehend the people who are just yep, I'm going to go work in the cog factory. I'm going to work here forever. I'm okay with this. I'm going to go home.
God bless those people. I think those.
I mean, we need those people, but
they're blessed, I think, in a weird way. But that would make me insane. Like I've tried that. You know, I've did sales jobs. I mean, I ended up working for like the Department of Labor. That was a great job for a little bit because I could just like not do shit and write and get paid by the government for it. But I got fired 2 years later. You know, it's like,
but it took 2 years.
It took 2 years. No, I had like a good 2 years to like do shit that I wanted to do. You know, basically getting paid to write on the government's dime. I was happy with that. So, you know, yeah, writer jobs are weird. You know, the porn store. I mean, that was a great writer job. I fucking could read. Like, I read fucking Anna Karenina at the porn store, and I had like talks with the pervs about it. I wrote about it. Like, it was like, who's this Anna Karenina bitch? I'll never get somebody asking, like, does she love the D? And I'm like, that's the problem of the story, man. You know, and I had like basically a porn store book club about Anna Karenina, and that was a beautiful moment in my life.
So how'd you end up at the porn store?
So my girlfriend at the time, we're in Orlando. We graduated. You know, we're both like, we went to UCF. Shout out to UCF in Orlando. And she got like a job working at the Spy Museum. Dude, I just wanted to get the fuck out of Florida. I was like, all right, I'm a writer and musician. I want to do something with that. That's not happening in Disneyland. That's, you know, I'm not going to work for Disney, so I need to get the fuck out of here. And so DC, it's not New York, but it was like, oh, it's something, you know? So, and I needed a job right away. And I'm like, all right, fuck, you know?
I mean, DC's just Hollywood for ugly people.
It is. So I was like, all right, you know, we'll figure this out. And I saw an ad for a video store. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. You know, this is like a dream job. I can do a video store. I'm just surprised that a video store is still around. You know, this is like 2010, maybe 29. I don't know, like 2010, something like that. But I'm like, all right, that's cool that there's still a video store around. You know, I could do that. And, you know, that's a decent job. You know, I'm doing, you know, my own writing and stuff. And I go there and I realize it's a fucking porn store. You know, it's like they had like a front, like regular movies, and they're like the worst movies you ever seen, like shit that you can't sell, you know. And then I go in the back and I'm like, oh, okay. And you see, you know, and it was weird zoning laws. Like you couldn't tell dildos. You had to say they were medical devices. You had like vibrators were medical devices. They couldn't actually be vibrators. And I got very good at selling vibrators, by the way. Like it was like I became like an artist of selling, because it's an awkward thing for a girl. She's coming in, she's like in this porn store. It's mostly dudes. They're looking at her because they're all fucking horny. They're not getting pussy. They're jerking off to porn. So it's already awkward. She's getting the eye, and you know. And I got like teachers and stuff like that. And you know, you get like just women who are working their asses off. They don't even have time for like a decent guy. And then you're just like, I don't want to deal with a man. Men are so bad. I'd rather just get a fucking vibrator and like get a movie for $5.99. Like those are, and they're decent looking women. Like these are good looking women. They're just so fed up with dating in DC, which is a shitty place to date, by the way. We can get into that in a little bit, but because Jesus Christ, they are awful. But you know, so you're just like, all right. And you had to just be really sensitive. And honestly, I think this has helped me be a publisher, being a porn store. Because I'm working with a lot of female writers, and you're like, they're being very intimate with you. They're like telling, you know, it's like, you have to be really gentle, no judging. You're like, hey, this is just, hey, you know, this is going to really feel good on the clitoris, you know, and that's what it's about. You're just like, you really have to be kind, and you can't make them feel awkward. Like there's a real art to selling a vibrator as a non-gay dude to a woman, and you can't like make it be like creepy. You can't like make them think, oh, he's gonna jerk off about me later. Like it's just like, no, I'm here to do this right. I did have a tragic story though. I had a girl she was from some I want to say, yeah, it was Ethiopia, not Somalia, Ethiopia, female circumcised. So sad. She's beautiful, talented, like not, I don't know if she's talented. I'm just like, I adored this girl. She was just really beautiful Ethiopian woman, got an arranged marriage, had her clitoris chopped off basically, and she wanted to fucking masturbate. And I had to basically teach this woman to masturbate by like G-spot stimulation because she didn't have a fucking clitoris. And I'm just like, yeah, you got to do this. And it was like, this is more than I bargained for with this job, you know? And it became like, and then I noticed because we lived by a hospital for vets, and I'm like, these guys would come in. So it was like, I always say this, I feel like I did more for the community in DC by people coming in because they just needed a guy to talk to. Like, I was basically a shrink at the end, and that's probably why I thought about being a shrink. These guys would come in, they needed to talk. I'd listen to them, you know, they're fucking war veterans, like they sacrificed their life, you know, and they're got missing legs and shit. And I just listen to them and talk to them, and I'm a good listener. And, you know, these girls would come in, they just like lonely, you know, so it was a darkness in the porn store too. I mean, it was a great job, but, you know, you got a lot of lonely people. And yeah, but her fucking husband, the Ethiopian, her husband found out, and I never heard from her again. I was really fucking sad about that because I think God knows what happened to her. Honestly.
Hopefully she didn't end up in the crime plotter.
Yeah, no, like it was not good. I knew this. She like called me. She would like call me and just say, "Hey, how's it going?" And we'd talk about like American Idol. Like she just wanted to like learn more about American culture. You know,
was she just a refugee or?
I'm not sure. You know, she didn't really get it. I know she was married. You know, and I know the guy was not a good guy, and you know, there's some darkness at the porn store.
Unfortunately, I mean,
yeah. I mean, the owner, to bring it back to a little light, the owner was the 70s. He was 70. His girlfriend was like 35. He had a fucking wig. He was super Italian guy, Nick, and he had the gold mine of a business at one time. You know, he made so much money selling porn in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Then 2010 comes. He's like, why am I not making any fucking money here? You know? And then like, man, he was just, God, he would just like, he wanted me to like tell people, there's like, you listen, you need to tell these guys that there's communist spies on the internet. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? He's like, they're going to spy on them. It's communist. Like, he's just like, he's like still in the 80s. Like we're in a
like
fucking,
the Red Scare is going to stop people from jerking off online.
Yeah, exactly. He really thought that was going to work. And he was like, man, it was like, to use the term of the day, problematic. So, you know, the majority of the dudes that came in with the neighborhood it was at, they were like 90% were black men over 40. He's like, I got an idea to get, you know, the customers happy. We're going to get some watermelon gum. And I was like, what the fuck? I just like, you know, I can't say to my boss, like, that's fucking racist. That's like, not good.
Nick, do you want us to sell fried chicken too? What the fuck?
You know, and then we had, for Christmas, we had this like Barry White singing Santa. He's like, oh, the brothers love this. And he's like, Chris, you got to get the big ass stuff. You know, don't get this other shit. The big ass, that's what they like. I mean, it was just like, no, I'm going to write about this. This is like the thing I need to write about because I feel like enough time has passed and there's like a nostalgia for like the late 2000s, early, you know, I got to write like what's called auto fiction. I'm basically just like, we'll fictionalize a few things, but yeah, I got to write because I dated too there, you know, in DC, it's like the most professional, managerial, whatever you want to call it, class, you know, and they're all working for the government. They're all working for politics. And here I am like this fucking nobody wannabe writer or musician who's working at a porn store. Not a good place to date if that's it.
I'm sure you were a novelty to some of them.
They liked the idea of it, you know, and they, you know, I hooked up here and there, but it was like, to keep it real, I ended up only dating black women while there. Because the white women there, they're either obsessed with Ayn Rand or they're fucking like ridiculous hippie leftists. And I didn't fit in with either of those groups. You know, I'm just doing my thing. So I ended up like, you know, dating mostly, I guess you could call it my white boy summer in DC. I'm going to get canceled for this, aren't I? No.
10 years from now. Don't worry. 10 years.
No, I just was like, you know, I remember these Republican girls and they just wanted like, they're like, oh my God, you know, it was Ayn Rand who wanted me to be, you know, really taught me the truth of life. I'm like, bitch, you just want to be selfish. Like,
Ayn Rand died on welfare. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Like, give me a break. And then like, you know, it was funny. Like the Republican girls were actually cooler to me just because they were less snobby and the leftist girls would be like, you work at a porn store. Like, it was just like not a good fit for me.
It's like, ladies, yeah, I work in a market that is empowering women to do what they want with their bodies.
No, it was just not a good fit. The musician scene was bad. I mean, I finally find a drummer. He's 40 years old. He lives with his mom. It's just like, I'm not going to go anywhere. If I want to do music and writing, this is not the place for me. And then my buddy had a job for the Department of Labor. So I end up in New York, so I'd like to write like a couple books about just the nonfiction journey to, from DC to New York.
DC is just,
I hate it. I mean, I love, I love the city. It's such a well laid out city. It's perfect. You have all these bands coming in. You have great writers visiting. I just couldn't stand they're just not my people. Like, I'm not into like I remember they were talking about IRAs, and I'm like, why are we talking about the Irish Republican Army? And that's like, I learned that's not that. It's like a retirement fund. And I'm like, these motherfuckers are drinking and talking about IRA. Like, I don't belong here. This is not my crowd. I'm not one to talk about IRAs. So I left. When I was able to leave, I was. But the porn store was a good gig. I mean, I look back on that with, there was some sad shit there, but I learned a lot about life.
I mean, there's sad shit in life everywhere.
Yeah, that's life, but it was, I really have fond memories of the porn store. Like, yeah, it was a depressing, shitty job, like most jobs, to be honest.
Yeah, most retail jobs, for sure.
Most retail jobs, for sure. But it, and I look back on it, and it's mostly good memories.
Do you ever check in to see if the porn store still exists?
Oh, it's gone. It's a weed dispensary now.
Modern retail.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. Nick passed away. That's tough. We were all supposed to get the store. Nick was going to give us a store because it wasn't making any money at the end of it. So, but that's life. That's life.
It's sad. It's sad to do. That's another thing that youngins will never get to really experience. Fucking the nerve-wracking experience of walking into a porn store for the first time.
It's just really not. I mean, they're there, but they're like novelty shops. They're not the same.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Yeah, no.
Back in my day.
You didn't go on Twitter right now. You just look up.
Oh,
it's there.
I literally last night was just trying to be an asshole on Twitter and tweet funny shit.
Yeah.
And had to sort through my timeline to find stuff that was not buttholes.
Yeah.
I need stuff to react to that is not just porn, people.
I mean, it's just, and you have OnlyFans now. I mean, it's weird. I mean, you have I'll meet writers. I'm like, oh, they're cool, and they have an OnlyFans. It's just that's where we're at. It's just not a big deal anymore.
Well, and that's awesome.
It is. I'm 100% for it.
Yeah, getting rid of the stigma of sex work is awesome.
I'm 100% pro. We'll be publishing a poetry book in 2024. We haven't officially announced it, but it's basically a poetry book, and we're publishing way less poetry because it is hard to sell. But we're publishing a pro sex work poetry book, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm all about that. 'Cause I'm very pro. Especially after doing that gig, I'm like, people got to make money. That's where shit's at.
If you reduce the stigma on it, more people, can take that opportunity and not be negatively affected by it later on in life.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No,
it's not a big deal.
Hopefully everyone is fucked.
Yeah,
some of them have just done it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's. People that make a big deal, I don't know. I mean, we had to deal with that too, at the porn store. There are people always trying to shut it down because they didn't like how it meant to the community and blah, blah, blah. But people wanted it,
Yeah, supply and demand. It's capitalism.
Yeah, it's what it is. Exactly.
I definitely remember the first times as a youngin, having to go through the fucking cowboy doors to fucking get the
cowboy doors. Yeah, that's what we had. We had those cowboy doors. It was either cowboy doors or beads.
Right. Every time, why? Why?
Yeah, I don't know why. That's a good question. I have to think about that one.
Every fucking porn store, every fucking video store that had a porn section since the beginning of time, either beads or fucking saloon doors. Why?
There's probably a psychology behind it that just caught on. It's it's forbidden. You're going through. I mean, there's some Jungian psychology probably. You're entering a new sphere or something. There's subconscious shit. I'm
sure part of it is also you want a door that makes a little noise so the attendants can be
it's for the kids. I think too. Because that was the other thing. That's the one area we had to worry about with if you get a 16-year-old or somebody in there, then we're fucked. Then we're getting close. They were looking for us to fuck up in some way. So we had people checking in, making sure, we had to have a certain percentage of only sex. It was just they were just squeezing. They were we're going to make sure that this porn store eventually closes. And that's fucked up, so that's always why I'm a little you should be able to do what you want, and if it's not hurting anybody, it was actually doing good for the community. You have fucking hospital 2 blocks away of vets who just need to talk to somebody. And I did more good than some of these fucking churches, honestly, near it, to be honest.
Probably more than a lot of churches.
Yeah. So,
churches end up doing a lot of harm at times.
They do. They definitely do.
God damn, I really am becoming an anti-theist. Fuck.
I'm like, whatever. I just don't care anymore. I mean, my wife believes, she's a believer in like whatever. I don't even know. Whatever nonsense there is. But
if your wife believes in whatever nonsense and you don't, what do you instill in your child?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, honestly, he can believe what he wants.
Yeah, but you got to give him some guidance when it comes to you with questions. Your wife's going to give you radically different answers than you are.
Yeah, and he can, whatever sounds better to him, go with it. I mean, I'm not one that, I don't have the answers. I'm not going to say I know. Like, I don't know if there's a God, or I can't say for certain. The only thing I know is I don't have certainty. Is there fucking fairies and shit? Probably not,
But then why believe in God if you're like, fairies probably don't exist, but God might.
I can't understand the full universe like a pure scientific way. Like, it's there though, and you're probably better off. Like, I'm not a believer. I would fall under extreme agnostic to the point of atheist, but I can't say for any kind of certainty that I know. I mean, my thing is like, hey, we don't know. I'm pretty sure there's not fucking hell and all that nonsense. It's a shitty thing to think about death, but we're all going to have it. There's no escaping it. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, all you can do is kind of enjoy the life you have now. And I think that if that's not your philosophy, you are in the wrong.
100%. Because people are like, oh, I'm going to do things to ensure I have great eternal life. Like, motherfucker, you're here.
You're here. That's all you have. You don't know. You might as well enjoy it, and that's all. That's the only really good philosophy. Try to be a decent person too. I do believe that. I don't think you have to do that to be in heaven or hell.
You shouldn't have to have your invisible parent figure in the sky make you be a decent person.
No, I mean, it's just better for you to be a decent person, because that shit will come back to you. Like, I'm not even saying karma. Like, if you live a shitty life and you're shitty to other people chances are going to be shitty to you.
Though you may end up president.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be that, you might be that one fucking escape, but that means you already probably have billions of millions of dollars, and that's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, well, it's also like, there's a study that showed that like the amount of Fortune 500 CEOs that are like fucking sociopaths, like,
yeah, you might need to be a sociopath, and that's you. I mean, you're not going to have many consequences. I mean, that is the trade-offs with like accepting, without a God and all that. But I'd rather have that and let some asshole be a rich CEO than us just like try to follow some moral code that we have no idea even, there's no scientific base. I mean, we have psychology, we have science, we have so many things that we can base what is good for humans and what's not, that you can make an educated guess on how you want to live.
Well, and the thing about it is, organized religion definitely served a point in human history. It definitely did.
We needed it.
Oh, yeah, we definitely needed it.
We needed it. We were fucking beasts. Yeah.
And pork would fucking kill you. I understand. Back in the day.
Exactly.
Pork would fucking kill you.
Yeah. So, I mean, now we can eat some pork.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. I love fucking bacon. I'm Italian Jew. I fucking eat bacon 3 times a week. It's delicious.
I had some prosciutto right before you came over.
Prosciutto's fucking great. Yeah, I mean, that's the Italian me. I mean, I fucking love prosciutto. To not eat prosciutto, that's a sin.
Right?
That's not living.
How could you pass up prosciutto?
Baba Ghoul? Come on. Like, yeah.
Hell, when I was in Spain, like, every fucking bar has, like, the jamon, like...
I was blessed to go to Barcelona for, like, a writing thing, and it was... Fuck, man, that place is paradise. I miss Barcelona.
I haven't been to northern Spain. I was in Madrid and then on the Mediterranean coast.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But every fucking bar we went into, there's just a fucking ham hock in there. Slicing the fucking jamon.
That's the way to live.
Oh.
That's the way to live, Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you have to be a hedonist. I think that will...
Why not?
I mean, you can. You can, actually. Actually, really what works for you. I mean, when all's said and done,
Trying to make it work. Trying.
Hedonism's fine. I think it actually depends. It really just depends where you're at. Like, you know what it is? Where I'm at, I have so much shit going on that I know I can't do certain things now. I can't I just can't, because I have such a full plate that, I can't yeah, there's just certain things it's like it's not worth it for me to do. And that's really, I really believe it's really there's really no right answer. It's really your answer.
Well, and that's part of the reason I don't want kids, because, you know, when you have to be responsible for another human life, you can't do.
I can say it. I am exhausted all the fucking time. Like, what I'm doing is some like Nietzsche Ubermensch like nonsense. I am like fucking like Magnetoing life. I'm just building. I'm like, like how he turns like metal into shit. Like I don't know how I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. But I'm definitely, there's a trade off for it, and that's I'm tired all the time. You know, it's I'm tired, and you know I'm gonna take a break in May. I'm looking forward to that. But I'm like, I gotta set out a time to just take a break and like plan a break 3 months in advance. Like that's what I've had to do. So, you know, it's just trade off. Like you got to know who you are. Like I've learned about myself that, and I'm probably in a very small minority. I really like pushing myself to my limit. And that's when I feel most alive. And I guess you know, it's almost sadistic. No, it's masochistic, excuse me, in a way. I like to like, all right, how far can I go before I think I'm going to crash? And I like that. I like living like that. So I like having this full plate. I like being stressed out. There's a certain personality type.
I think it's a very Jewish thing.
It's a Jewish thing. No, that's...
I can relate to all of that.
No, so I'm like hardcore Jewish mother, hardcore workaholic father, Italian. So it's just like, it's just my nature. You know, it's like I feel weird if I'm not doing that. So, you know, but that's me. I don't think 98% of people should live like how I'm living, where they're like, oh, let's do 3 things and do all this shit and then just collapse for a day and then go.
I probably feel guilty about that collapse.
And feel guilty. Oh, yeah.
I have that all the fucking times. Like, I need to fucking take a day. And then I'm like, but I took a fucking day.
Yeah. And then it's like, there's always still something going on, you know, because it's not, if it's a press, there's always something with a press. Like, it's like people who think like publishing is glamorous or fucking like maybe for the but even the big 4, like even corporate publishing is stress. Like it's a stressful industry. Like you have to just be okay with that. And you know, music's fun. I mean, but now that we're like trying to do something with it, it's like a gig. You know?
The business of music is definitely stressful.
It's stressful. I mean, you just you know, it's easier to promote music than books because it's just easier to get people to click and listen for 2 minutes, where a book, you're like, fuck that. I don't have time for that. So it's much harder to sell books than to get people to listen to music. But you can't really make money on music anymore. You can make money selling books. Trust me, I'm doing all right. Very hard to make money with music. So that's a whole other industry. Like where Spotify has really fucked musicians, Amazon... People don't like the Kindle as much as Amazon thought they were. People still read regular books. They like the physical media. You are getting CDs are weirdly coming back.
Really?
Yeah, there's people actually buying CDs.
Like, I understand vinyl coming back. I don't understand CDs coming back.
They're there. It's not as much as vinyl is actually really coming back. Vinyl is like, that's here, but I don't, you know, we'll see how much, you know, people can afford to buy vinyl. Like, we'll do one down the road, but it's not like a pressing. But people are what that is, they'll buy the CD, but they'll like be able to they like the physical media, but they'll have the download code. So like if they can't play the CD, at least they have it. There is still a craving, I think, for physical media.
Well, and there should be, because at the end of the day, I found this out with buying digital movies and shit like that. If Apple or whoever loses the rights to it, they just pull it from your fucking library and they don't tell you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So there's no guarantee. So if that's your favorite movie or favorite song, you don't know.
Yeah, it's gone from your library.
You don't know. Oh yeah, we should mention that. I mean, yeah, you have like Twitter now. You know, and it's interesting because like literally this is the day Elon bought Twitter. I should mention it. And it's, you know, as a publisher, Twitter has been amazing for class books. We got the Eve 6 book because of Twitter. That's literally the only reason why Eve 6 is publishing with us. Max, God bless him. It's because of Twitter. So, you know, Elon, I'm not a fan of him personally. I don't like the dude. You know, I mean, I'm not going to like any real billionaire. Not because I'm even like, oh, fuck billionaires. I'm just like, you probably did some scumbag shit to become a billionaire.
Yeah, you don't become a billionaire with like playing nice.
Yeah, you know, so there's something off. usually about you, but I want to I always like to try to look deeper in things. So my hope with Elon, and I hate how he's done on labor, not to get too political, there's some shit, what he's done, the racial profiling, his background being from apartheid fucking South, these are not good things. And I do see, I have some friends even, the hero worshiping of turning Elon into fucking Tony Stark is some of the dumbest shit I have encountered in a long time. Come on, y'all. No, he's not that. He's made some really smart moves. He's made
some really fucking dumb ones too.
And he's made huge dumb ones. He realized he could get government subsidies for doing electric cars and could get propped up. And then, he's a ruthless motherfucker. My hope for Elon, him being kind of, to use an un-PC word, but an autiste, so to speak, is that he's looking at free speech as this Watchmen type mission where I have to watch over, I have to protect free speech. Even if they talk shit about me, I'm going to let it in. That's going to have some bad shit too. I'm my hobby is I like to look up about cults. So I've found QAnon fascinating, online cults. So you might get QAnon people back on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure they're coming back.
They're coming back. You probably have Trump back, and that's I don't like Trump, but it's the Trump show. I'm oh God, this is gonna come back because I gotta promote books. That's why I'm on Twitter. I make funny jokes too. That's nice. It's cool, but I'm on there to do my small business. I'm a small business owner. That's why I'm on Twitter. There's no other reason for that. That's my main reason. I like to talk basketball here and there, but it's fun. But I'm there to spread the word for my authors. So the fact that I'm going to have to now deal with fucking MAGA chuds and then resist TM, I'm not looking forward to that, because they're both crazy and cringe. I'm not excited about that, but we'll see, Then again, though, to just be, to see the good of it. Eve 6. Well, I love. That's going to be my moneymaker, to keep it real. That's going to make, that's going to do well for us. He got suspended for saying, let's put landlords into a blender. He got suspended on Twitter for that. That's fucked up. That should not happen. Will Elon Musk make it so that Eve 6 is not going to get suspended for making a fucking obvious pop culture joke? Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. Sometimes, my philosophy in life, I'm going to say it right here, and this is very Jewish right here. There's two things in life. Sometimes you get penicillin. So there's three things, and that's the good. You get the penicillin. And then there's chlamydia and cancer. And hopefully, Elon will be chlamydia. You can deal with chlamydia. You won't die from it.
As we lovingly refer to it as a porno cold.
A porno cold, exactly. There's penicillin, there's antibiotics for it. Maybe he does some cringy shit. I hate his stuff. I get it. I get where people are coming from. He's kind of awful. But if he's going to make it that, it's just, you're not going to get suspended for shit like that, fine.
What I'm really looking forward to is his claim, if he actually follows through with this, to actually weed out bots.
Yeah, no, that would be great. So, okay, I'm on board for that. I'm not a fan of you, but all right, if you're going to be a big boy, I think this is a midlife crisis, and that's, whatever, fine. I don't give a shit. That's your business. Why you're motivated to do this? To own this site, you do kind of have to be a crazy person. This is not going to be fun. You're going to have to deal with these weird gray areas of, I don't think Twitter's going to turn into 8chan or whatever. Probably not. I don't know if they're going to let all... that's the other thing too, I did study politics in college. I actually did get a political science degree. I don't really even like politics anymore, but I know how, that shit works. And if he's positioning himself as a friend of the right, but then going to actually do policies on Twitter that people on the left will appease, he might be really fucking smart. Where he's hey, I'm on your side. I believe in free speech, but we can't have, people calling everyone the N-word every 2 fucking seconds. You can't have harass. I just don't want, look, you can block people, but at the same time, Do I want to like be called a kike every 10 seconds? No. If that's happening every fucking day, we have a problem on Twitter.
Well, it's definitely a problem, but
I can block them.
I can block them.
That's true. And I've thought about this.
And those people's words have zero power over me.
Exactly. So it's like, where's that middle ground? You know, I don't really want to have an 8chan where, I don't want to wake up in the morning and just see fucking slurs. I want to see buttholes. That's fine. Keep the buttholes. Not really wanting to see the N-word and anti-Semitism while I'm drinking my coffee and I'm getting ready to market my books.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to see that too.
But, at the same time, there's trade-offs like anything in life. So I think if you can find a happy middle ground with that, but that's the thing. It's like there's not going to be a perfect social media site. You're going to just have to pick your poison.
I mean, MySpace existed.
MySpace is pretty great looking back on it, I mean,
we didn't know how good we had it.
No, it was actually, looking back on it, it was not bad. Tom was all right.
Yes, you might go to someone's page and you give your computer basically virtual cancer, but
yeah, but you know what? That was your choice. You could go to their page and you could leave another page. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, so that HTML will be like, oh God, what did I just do to my computer?
Oh yeah, that sucked. I mean, the interface, but the idea of it wasn't bad. I mean, I'm stuck on Twitter. I have to be on there. I have 3 sites. Like I have 3. I basically run the class books Twitter. That's the big one. I run my band's Twitter, and I have my own. And it's like, I'm stuck on there, so I just don't want the site to, like, I don't want to feel like I'm on 4chan if I don't have to, but I can always mute words. Like, it's just like, I just don't want to have to do extra labor.
I wholeheartely agree. But I have a lot of love for Twitter.
Me too.
I've been on Twitter since 2009.
Oh, you're OG. Like I think 2011.
Like, I got on Twitter
when
it had to text me fucking tweets.
Yeah, you're old school. That's
and
respect.
Twitter has done things for my career.
Oh, same.
Just like the fact that every other social media, you have to be mutually connected versus, oh, hey, I can mention somebody, and there's a good chance they're going to fucking see this, especially back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I did a bunch of networking and met a bunch of people who are still friends to this day over fucking Twitter.
Yeah, no, same. I mean, it's the benefit outweighs the negative in a million ways. I think just I'm looking at it from like, the change. I mean, honestly, when all's said and done, I don't think it's really going to be that big of a deal. I don't think much is going to change. I'm there with a purpose. I'm not there to get self-esteem. I'm there to fucking sell books, meet other publishing people, talk about my music, make funny. And I like making funny tweets. It's nice. It's just something good in life. A funny joke comes to my head. I can share it with some people. I'll get like 8-10 likes, maybe 50 if I'm lucky, whatever, and it's like, it's nice. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot worse. Like, I definitely was not a fan of Trump. Elon Musk, like, they're all scum. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, he's awful. He's, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, so are the other tech billionaires. Is it really that much of a...
I mean,
he's just more honest about his shittiness.
Hell, someone pointed out today, it's like, yeah, Jack Dorsey's a saint.
No, like that's the shit that pisses me off. Like with that group, like I guess you could call them neoliberals or whatever. It's like, no, Jack Dorsey's not a saint. The fucking what's his name, the other billionaire, Microsoft guy, he's not a saint either. Like he's great philanthropic, like and it's crazy that people think he's putting microchips in.
But the thing with Bill Gates is he's philanthropic, but he gets to choose how he's philanthropic. He's not just like he's not paying his fair share of taxes.
No.
To make sure, like...
That's a good point. These guys aren't paying any taxes. It's the same. The billionaires are not paying taxes. These guys can do whatever the fuck they want with their money. They have figured out a way. They have the best accountants in the world that they're going to figure out a way to just keep all the money they can. And that's good. I'm not...
They're hoarding it like fucking dragons.
I mean, they could, the 5 of them got together, they could pretty much at least help end hunger to some degree in this country. They could.
Oh, Elon flat out asked the UN, how much, like, give me a plan to end world hunger.
Yeah.
How much will it cost? And they give him a plan and he just chose to ignore it.
Yeah. It's 20. I think it was 20 billion.
Yeah. Half of the going cost of Twitter.
So, I mean, it's just, it sucks. It sucks that, the people that end up with the most money are kind of sociopathic. And there's nothing you can do about that. You're never going to get like a nice billionaire. It's not going to exist. No. You might get a nice millionaire. You get lucky and they're like, I'm a millionaire. I got lucky. I mean,
they may not be a millionaire for long, though.
And they won't be a millionaire for long. They won't be a millionaire for a year or two. And then they're going to be a regular person again. And they might be happy like that. But you're going to have people with just like God complexes and and clearly Elon does.
Well, yeah. Who else would come up with the fucking tunnel system for the Boring Company?
Come on, man. Like,
let's make inefficient subways, everyone.
Yeah. It's like, it's just, he's like, not even a poor man's Tony Stark. He's like a crackhead's Tony Stark. Like, he's just, I think that's the thing that annoys me the most. Just the hero. I mean, I'm against hero worship of anybody when all said, like politicians especially, but like Elon Musk, it's like, come on, guys. Like, this guy's just,
Well, the best part about that is
that's naive as
fuck. If you look back at like the history of Tony Stark, not MCU movie Tony Stark piloted the Iron Man armor drunk and almost accidentally killed people.
Yeah.
Tony Stark was not a good guy for a good dude. For a good chunk of his fucking Iron Man run. That's what made him great.
You're like, oh, he was an asshole and he found a deeper purpose.
But he was also a fucking alcoholic.
Yes, absolutely.
And had all the alcoholic tendencies to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's as a writer and editor, that's great storytelling. That's a great arc. Elon Musk is like, all right, I've fucked up my third marriage. Let me try to save free speech and what I think you know what I mean? It's like,
what illustrates to me that Elon Musk is not a good guy? Grimes was, when they were still together, was tweeting about that he wasn't supporting her music career. Like, you have hundreds of billions of dollars. You're not going to support your baby mama's fucking music career?
Like, it's easily done. Like, he's weird. He's a weird guy that way. He's
just, how much wealth do you have to hoard? Like,
no, he's like super cheap. He's super cheap.
If I had a couple million, I'm not even a huge fan of Grimes' music. I'd think about supporting Grimes' music over.
Yeah, she's Grimes.
Right. I'm not having sex with her.
And I saw a funny tweet today, and it's like the debate is like, was Grimes' pussy so good that it fucking did this to Elon Musk, or was it so bad? And I think it was so good that losing that to some degree has just made him go in the deep end.
Support her fucking music career. Yeah. She might not fucking left, asshole.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, dude, when you fuck up 3 marriages, basically, it's like, man, have some priorities. Like, you fuck up your marriage again. You have a baby mama, and you're focused on Twitter. Like, that's the thing. I think Twitter, in a way, is like, it's so awesome, and it is. Like, I'm with you. It's done so much good for me. But man, when Twitter's like your focus in life, that's when shit's going off. You need to like kind of reevaluate. And it's no different. Elon, like, and it's weird. I think that makes him relatable. It's like, hey, this billionaire is also fucking miserable too, that he's obsessed with Twitter like me, and I'm making 30 grand and I hate my life too. I like this guy. It's a weird thing. And he posts boomer shit, like his boomer awful jokes. And it's like, I don't know if he's doing that purposely to make him relatable. Like, I don't know if it's a political move. Like, he's like, I'm purposely going to make myself super relatable to like the common man, or if he just really genuinely is just fucking lame. I don't know.
I don't either. And that's the greatest mystery.
It really is. Like, is this guy fucking brilliant in a way, like the way kind of Trump was, where he made like this rich asshole fuck made dudes making like 20 grand of a year feel like that's my guy. He gets me.
Because he talks like me.
Yeah, he talks like me. That's how I would be if I was rich. I'd be a fucking piece of shit too. I relate to this. Maybe that's how people feel with Elon. It's like, yeah, fucking pronouns are fucking stupid. I feel the same. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like that kind of anger and bullshit. Like, this is the shit you care about.
I mean, he spoke to Joe Rogan. He's got to be cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, these guys are really good at what they do. So I would lean more toward I'm just hoping this is not a nefarious fucking plot. I'm really hoping this is like megalomania where he's like, Elon's like, I am the bastion of free speech. This is my mission. I'm going to get man to the Mars and I'm going to protect Twitter. And you know what? That's fine. Good. Okay, fine. But I don't know if that's it.
Well, and I feel like if it does do something nefarious, it will be small and subversive.
It would be very small. You won't even notice.
Right. Like,
and it would be like fucking making sure labor movements. Like, look, I got to give props. Not political guy, but to the people. As a publisher, I'm obviously not a huge fan of Amazon, so it's personal. Like the guy Smalls, I think his name is, who started the union with Amazon.
Oh, on Long Island?
Much respect. Yeah, the guy, like, much respect to that dude. That dude's a hero to me. Like, good. Amazon's fucking shitty. They're fucking, like, they own, like, we have no choice to fucking deal with Amazon. It would be career suicide. We have no choice, and it sucks because we know we're making, like, blood money on that, and it sucks. And that's publishing. There's nothing I can do about that.
Believe me, I'm of two minds of it. I literally recently applied for a job at podcasting at Amazon, so it's like,
yeah, no, it sucks. Like I can't.
I make money from Twitch, which is an Amazon.
I'm not taking my books. I'm not taking my Press's books off Amazon. You know, I might now. I'm like joined a distributor, so I don't have to just rely on Kindle. That's nice, you know. But they're not going anywhere. But so like that, you know, is good. Now is like, you know, if Elon is like, I'm doing this to squash labor shit. That's really fucking evil.
Well, and the thing about it is, if he does do it to squash labor shit, it'll be subtle. It'll be like,
yes,
it's not going to ban labor movements. Yeah, it just won't show up in your fucking timeline.
Yeah, and that's scary. That's scary because that you get a lot of nonsense. I feel like, you know, with American politics, that really doesn't matter. It's like wrestling. It's entertaining for people, like the woke versus anti-woke, all this nonsense. It doesn't affect you really in any fucking way for the most part. But people getting upset about things that they can't affect, that are just so above their pay grade that they lose. It's like, come on, this is not going to do anything to your life. But that sets a tone. Yeah. That sets a tone where all of a sudden, you know, when you can't negotiate with huge corporations, and they don't have a labor union to deal with it, including Musk, including, you know, fucking Bezos, all these guys, then they have the power and they can do what the fuck they want to do.
Well, and just imagine, like,
and I don't think they're going to do good things.
Just imagine if Google made it so it was hard to find fucking trade unions through a Google search.
Exactly.
That's the real terrifying.
That's scary as fuck. So yeah, I mean, I worry more about Google than Elon, honestly, because it's like the stuff he's doing, his actual jobs are not gonna affect me for the most part. Like I'm not working for him. I'm not going to space. Maybe one day I will get an electric car. I don't have one right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't give a shit really what Elon Musk is doing. I think the fucking tunnels are stupid. Like that's. You know, it's more for you guys, more for LA than New York.
Well, it's an inefficient subway system. It's horrible.
Texas, like, come on, it's just you're a fool. Yeah, Google's scary.
Yeah,
Google really, like, I mean, SEO, all that shit. I gotta, you know, that affects your business. They have a lot of power, you know, and they're. You know, it's funny because like Google presents themselves as very woke, very loving and all that, where Elon's like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. And in some ways, I kind of prefer that because at least I know you are what you are, where Google's like, oh, yes, we are, you know, blah, blah, blah.
The problem is
there's scumbags behind it.
They could be.
That's more scary.
They could be the most altruistic company in the world, but they're publicly traded.
Yeah.
So just like Twitter being publicly traded, that could change a fucking dime.
Yeah. Exactly.
They could be the best, the most moral company on the planet today.
And their stockholders are like, hey,
we could make some more fucking money.
Yeah, we need more money. Why are you doing this? And
right. Or some other billionaire comes around.
That's the ills of capitalism. I'm not saying I mean, I don't know if there's a better system, honestly. I don't know. You know, that's above my pay grade, even though I've studied politics. I think, you know, you should try to always curb it. You should do something to regulate it because it's just a fucking monster.
Well, and this is why we're supposed to have monopoly laws in place, but like...
Yes. Do they really work? Not really.
Not really.
You know, so I don't know, you know.
I mean, hell, what was it? In the 90s, they were talking about breaking up Microsoft?
Yeah. You know, and the same with Google. But it's like, at the same time, they're very good. Like, I don't want Google not to be here. I don't want.
I need Google.
I need Google. I need it. So it's like
I need their software to be a little more user friendly.
It is kind of all. I keep thinking of the Watchmen doing this podcast. You need a fucking Watchman. You need like a Watchman of the tech companies.
But the problem is, do you want the government who doesn't even understand the technology to be the Watchman of the fuck?
That's a shitty Watchman. You need something else. I don't know what that's going to be.
But who do you trust to be the fucking Watchman?
Exactly, though. Who watches the Watchmen? And that's where we're at. Like, that movie was kind of prophetic. The comic book was really prophetic. It's not going to be with fucking bombs and it's not Dr. Manhattan. It's fucking the tech companies. That's going to be our Dr. Manhattan, is these tech companies. And we're stuck with them. We're really fucking I'm dependent on it. I saw that. I'm like, where's my phone? I'm dependent. We're getting singularized. So
you and me both. This whole medium, it's all fucking digital.
All digital. Yeah. But at the same time, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, it's still great. Like, I rather have that. We just have to be smart about it. We just all have to be a little more like, okay, what's going on here?
Well, the problem is the last 2 years has very much proved that smart and human society don't go hand in hand.
No. And that's never going to be that case. I mean, most people are fucking dumb. I will say that.
Yeah. If you feel
elitist, I don't give a shit.
Well,
it's true.
Look at it this way. If you feel that you're of average intelligence, 49% of the population is dumber than you.
Yeah. I'm probably in the 75%. I'm not a super smart guy. I'm above average. There are 75% of people probably, in my IQ score, I'm in like the 80s. 80% of people are fucking dumber than me. And they're, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, okay, that's half of my smarts. Like, that's 40%. That's pretty bad. Because I'm not I'm stupid on some shit. So there's people way more stupid than me. And we have to deal with that.
Yep. And some of those people who are way more stupid than you are willing to do things that make no fucking sense, like be violent over nothing.
Over nothing. And, I have a pretty great life. I have no need to do anything stupid, but there are people who have nothing good going on and are dumb. And that's going to be our issues in the next couple of decades.
It's like, fuck you.
And they can gather together, like the fucking incels and all that shit. They all can fucking meet up.
And that's the double-edged sword of modern technology.
Yeah. There's always a dark. It's like Jungian psychology shit. There's a lightness and then there's a dark, and we're gonna get more. We're getting all this light. We're getting all this awesomeness. Like, I'm able to. My cover artists. One lives in Australia. One lives in Spain. How fucking rad is that? I don't even have to work with an American artist if I don't want to. I have two super talented guys I get along with. Love working with them. They're both in different countries because I can talk to them online.
Who's your guy in Australia?
Matthew Rivera. Great artist.
Yeah, did my cover art too.
Oh, for probably Robert Dean. Yeah. Matthew Rivera. Amazing guy. Yep. Awesome dude. There we go. Look he did both of our total different things. Because, that's the globalization. It's fucking fantastic. But you also get fucking terrorists and you get incel. Like, you get, you know what I mean? You get fundamentalists who can all gather it around.
And you just get misinformation. People don't know what they can trust and what they can't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's people that are really fucking dumb when it comes to that. They have no media literacy.
Well, they have no media literacy. And you also, because of the nature of just immediate gratification, even, quote, reputable news sources are just trying to get the fucking clicks. Yeah. Investigative journalism has gone out the fucking window.
It's not here.
There's no budget for it.
And that's the thing. Like, people really shit on the media, but I'm not going to defend the media, but like, the whole media is cancer. Like, I think it's chlamydia, to go back to my little analogy. There's not enough money, and they're having to fucking do the news and capitalism. They have to make money.
Well, and just much like the taxi cab companies not innovating with the times, newspapers like, oh yeah, we'll just give away our online editions for free. And nobody wants to pay for something that they've been previously getting for free.
That was dumb. Yeah, you have to pay for value. You can't just totally devalue something.
But they did. And then it's like, oh, hey, no one wants to cut down millions of fucking trees and actually get a physical newspaper every day.
Yeah. So now you're kind of fucked. So we're all kind of fucked with that. Yeah, it's a nice smorgasbord of like awesomeness and shit to be living right now. I think the awesomeness definitely outweighs. I will say that we are living in an amazing time where I think there is more positivity. Definitely standards of living are the best they've ever been. That's not to say, oh, don't complain. don't be an activist, don't ask for more. But, that is good to remember. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in like the past. Like, I mean, we were joking about like the 20s. Fuck that. I want to be, I will take Denny's over Paris in the 1920s.
I mean, also imagine doing the Spanish flu without the internet. Like the quarantine for the Spanish flu. Like
those poor people were fucked. They were so fucked.
I mean, all your choices. Well, I mean, you might have enjoyed it. All you had to do was, drink, read, and fuck. I mean, those were your options to spend your day.
Yeah.
That's
worse things.
Yeah, there are worse things, but it's still like eventually your dick gets raw.
Yeah, you can only fuck for so long. So yeah, man.
I've said this on air multiple times. I am happy I'm the age I am, where it's like, oh, I got to come up as a kid and as an young teenager in the analog age.
Yeah.
But I'm not so fucking old that I don't understand technology.
Yeah, no, and that's rough. I mean, I've had some older writers, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. They just don't, it's just, yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
But I also am happy that I'm of the age of, like, I fucking played outside. I hung out in pool halls and coffee houses, and
yeah,
I can have a conversation with someone that's not through a fucking screen.
Yeah, no, and I think, I'm not into, like, this, I think, like, I like the Zoomers, to be honest. I mean, it's not just because I'm trying to sell them shit. Like, I like them. They're all right. They're interesting to me. I like them more than, fellow millennials. I think, it's going to be interesting because I think they can actually, because they're so saturated, I think they're actually kind of like, oh man, this is like a real book. This is kind of cool. They're so, like, physical media is actually like a novelty for them. And I think that's a good sign.
Until they have to move apartments a couple times and then fucking books suck.
Yeah. No, that's an issue. I'll deal with another, it's a trade-off.
Right.
Then they're like, oh, this is fucking stupid. But, until then, they're all right. I don't think there's like a better generation, honestly. I mean, I like Gen Xers for sure. Some of them are fucking assholes. Some of them are great. Just like any generation. Same with millennials.
It's the Xers that get closer to the boomers.
Yeah, they're fucking awful. Like, I'm not a fan of the boomers. I mean, most millennials aren't. But there's some good boomers, too. I mean, the boomers that realize, yeah, we were kind of bad. But,
it's just wild that, like, your generation went from being, like, free love and, sex, drugs, rock and roll, man, to, oh, you assholes can't afford housing? Sounds like your fucking problem.
Yeah, no, they're fucking dicks. I mean, they don't realize how, like, lucky they had it. And some of that, like, historically, was also due to race. Like, a whole other bunch of shit. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Like, I've talked about this on air, too. It's just like, oh, yeah, segregation was in our parents' fucking lifetimes.
Yeah. No, they so you had, like, white guys who could get, like, a wife right away and not have to deal with competing with women and black people getting jobs. So they got good jobs. And it's like, yeah, you got a good life because of awful shit. I'd rather fucking have a shitty life and struggle than not have women have choices and black people not be allowed to work or live a certain, like, fuck off, like that's,
or just have menial fucking jobs. Like,
yeah. Like, there's more important things, but
it'll be interesting to see what the history books say about this time. And
yeah, I agree. I mean, we had a crazy kind of 6 years, honestly. Like, you had the Trump president was wild, man. That's just wild shit. Like, you had a reality TV show guy become president. You had a
giant fraud of a reality TV show.
Yeah, like, not even like, I mean, like,
it wasn't even Mark Cuban.
No, I'm like a big sports guy. I don't talk about it too much, but, like, so I know about it. Like, I know, like, he was a scumbag for, like, because he like literally got a football league demolished for just being such a bad business person, like, back in the 80s, the XFL.
How do you bankrupt a casino?
That's huge. Like, that means you have just such hubris and stupid ideas, so I mean, but I just think we all have these blind spots. That's what I've learned, man. Like, I'll see people, there's some dudes like Trump, Elon, there's just dudes, they're like, these guys are strong. We all have base instincts. And Trump and Elon, a lot of these guys are really good at playing for certain people. People, they might not have a good, like, empathy, but they're logical, and they're good at sizing up other dudes. Like, this is a powerful dude, and there's like, that's the guy. And then you'll have like, you know, more liberal people, women, and more like kind of sensitive dudes, and they'll be like this. They'll see these con artists, or like, I'm Mr. Woke, and I'm gonna make sure everybody's happy, and they're trying to either get laid or money out of,
or both,
honestly, both. And you can do that. So it's like they have a blind spot too. Like, I mean, I'm pretty good at not having. I can kind of see bullshit, and that's what makes me a good editor. That's my job, is to just let's take the bullshit out. So it's a curse in a way, because I'm like, I'm never falling for bullshit. I'm like, no, this guy's full of shit. I remember there was like this genre called alt-lit, and these guys were all like, we're not into toxic masculinity and this and that. Even before that was a term, we're like, we are true artists. And I'm like, these guys are just trying to get pussy. I like, this is what's going on. These guys just want to sleep with like cool hipster girls.
I mean, who doesn't?
And that's cool. I like cool hipster girls too, but they presented themselves as these other kind of guys. We're not like the jocks or this or that. Then all of a sudden, rape charges, statutory rape, all these like fucking alt-lit guys. And I'm like, I saw this. It's like a gift and a curse. Like, I'm like, I saw through this. These guys are all con artists. And I said that with like political people, like on the left too. And
well, the problem is blind tribalism.
Tribalism, yeah. So like, oh, this person says that, so they must be good. And if you don't have that extra sixth sense, which most people don't, like I'm good at seeing potential. Like, I have like a sixth sense for certain things. Certain things I'm totally blind, stupid fuck about. But, you know, certain things I can see. And people don't see it. It's obvious to me, but like other people will not see it.
I guess I'm just a pessimist. You're a scumbag till proven innocent.
No, that's a good way. I mean, that's kind of old school Jew. Right there. I mean, that's a good philosophy to be. You know, maybe in the short term, it's kind of rough to build friendships and relationships that way.
Oh no, I like some scumbags.
Yeah, no, but you're not going to get fucked that way.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. It'll be hard. It's a lot harder to get fucked that way when you have that mentality. But yeah, people are just blind. Oh, this person says they're nice or this. No, they're a fucking asshole. They're a scumbag. They're a con artist. Like,
well, and I don't know, in my personal experience in life, most of the times when someone has to tell you that they're something, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Actions.
Right.
I mean, it's like the cliches of like actions, not words. That's how you know.
Have you ever met someone who's like, I'm a nice guy, who's a nice guy?
No. No. It never is that way. Maybe if you say, hey, I'm a decent guy, I can trust a guy who says, hey, I'm a decent guy. I try my best. But even then, you don't know.
I still don't believe you. Like, at the point where you have to try to sell me on you being a decent guy.
Yes, you don't really, you're right. If you have to say it, you know.
Like, your actions, if you're like, you do decent shit, like, oh, hey, I had this emergency and you come fucking help me out, you're a decent human being.
Yeah, I agree.
But the point where you're like, oh, I'm a nice guy. Like, you're not.
No.
You're not.
No,
you're just trying to convince yourself and other people.
Yeah. You just like the idea of you being something you're not. Yeah. And you think it's going to get you something, being labeled as a nice guy.
Yeah. You're going to convince people like, oh, yeah, he's such a nice guy. No, he's not. He's fucking not.
Yeah.
It's like someone saying, like, I'm a genius. You're not.
No. Good old Kanye.
Anyone who proclaims to be a fucking genius is not, because real smart people are so full of fucking doubt.
Yes. No, this is having to work with very smart people, like genius level smart people. They do not have an intellectual like hubris. No, they don't have it. They don't have it. You know,
I'm sure they're full of self doubt and probably need reassurances from you that like their shit's good at times.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting being an editor, working with like some PhD people, and like they are full of doubt. You know, they are not. They know they have value. They're not. There's a humility to them. You know, they're never going to call themselves a fucking genius.
Sometimes I'm a little envious of stupid, pretty people.
Yeah,
because they can just kind of slide through life at times. Just like people want to hand them shit.
Yeah.
And they don't have that self-doubt because they don't know any fucking better because they're fucking morons.
Yeah. No, it's ignorance. I mean, it is bliss, and then it's like you're older, and then you're not as pretty, and you're not as that, and then life kind of sucks. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting to be this old, so.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
There was definitely a good chunk of my life where 30 was a fictional age.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm in
30? That's someone's fucking parents. Like,
yeah.
30?
Yeah. I'm fading a little bit. It's catching up to me. Everything.
It's okay. We're actually going to call last call on this motherfucker. We've been going 2.5 hours already.
Oh, shit. I was like, oh, that's good, man. I thought like maybe we're like an hour and a half. I'm like, oh, shit. I hope I'm starting to crash. But this has been fucking awesome, man.
Fuck yeah. No, it was a blast. And we probably would have kept going if you were like, I'm fading. Like, no,
like it hit me because I'm like, it's like 2, and now I'm feeling like I got pitched memoirs this weekend. Every fair, they'll come up to me like, I have a story to tell you. And it's the fucking most boring story ever. And they'll give me a book that they've already self-published, thinking I'll publish it. And it wears you down. You're just sad for these people. You see people pay like $1,000 to be at this book fair, and they sell 3 books, and it's very sad. And then you see people's dreams kind of die, that they shouldn't maybe had the dream in the first place.
See, if they were smarter, they'd have self-awareness and wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing I see. The biggest flaw in the arts. If you don't have self-awareness, you're so fucked, man. You're so fucked.
Hey, I say this to people all the time. Like, one of the things I love about LA, I know we were going to wrap, but one of the things I love about LA is you're surrounded by people that are actively trying to pursue their creative goals.
Yes, I love being here, by the way. It's fucking great. It's a great energy.
But some of us are delusional. Like, statistically,
yes,
some of us are fucking delusional. And something's wrong with you if you don't occasionally question, be like, am I one of the delusional ones?
Yes. You have to have that moment. You have to. I mean, for me, I think this is good to like end on. Like, for me, it's become more purpose. Like, this is just kind of my purpose. I don't get caught up as much in the result. Like for the press, we do need to make a certain amount of money, and that's fine. But it was tough. It was tough in those first couple of years. You're like, all right, I'm not making Mandy money anymore. Do I go back to school, or I ride this out while use some of that money and try this publishing thing? I mean, it's kind of fun for me because I'm not dependent on it being successful, but I kind of, maybe it has more of an upside in a weird way because I'm just doing it for the love of it, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'll be a cuckold craze. You never know. Cuckold rock could happen. I mean, but you do it. Yeah, it's the purpose. I mean, if it's ego based where you're trying to get validation, I think that's when things get bad. And if you're willing to like learn, that's the thing. Like I people who are like, yeah, let me just kind of learn. I'm me, and I'm going to keep being me, but I'm also going to learn and how to connect better. Whatever your art form is, you got a shot. You want to just be able to have a shot.
Yeah, and it's also, what are your overall goals? Like,
yes, that is huge too.
I don't want to be rich and fucking famous. I don't want to be Joe Rogan. I don't want to be that tier of fucking podcasting. I would love to just be able to comfortably pay my bills from doing this.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm in a fortunate place where I was able to do that with my writing, which I was able to do for like a year or two, which is an amazing thing. Like, I'm in an anomaly. I'm in a very low percentage. I mean, I was writing fucking the ridiculous books ever. So that's the thing. It's like, there's trade-offs. Like, it wasn't, here's my heart and soul in a book and give me 6 figures. No, it was me talking about Jesus coming on Kirk Cameron and he's made out of cheese. That's my writer success. It doesn't come how you want it to come either. It's a weird game.
I'm sure it happens for a lot of musicians too. How many like really talented musicians are hired guns in some band that they would have never formed in a million years?
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. And sometimes that's the band that breaks through and they're like, fuck it. I'm getting paid. I'm doing something I love. There are compromises. I think that's the thing. If you're looking for purity while doing art, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. Unless you want that to be kind of like a part-time job type purpose thing. That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, if you want to be a hobbyist at it, do it completely for you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I notice people get into fights like writers because it's like some people it's their hobby, and some people are like, hey, I'm actually trying to pay my mortgage. writing a lot of books. You know, you have to be prolific if you're going to make money writing that, you know. So you just got to find what works for you, you know, and it's each person is different.
Yep. And you got to make some compromises along the way.
Yeah. You got to pick what's worth fighting, what's not, you know. I mean, and for me, you know, like with Clash, I mean, I was like, okay. I mean, I saw we filled a niche, you know, and sometimes it is filling it. I saw like, okay, there's not a place for agents are not wanting to publish cuckold books. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I'll publish this fucking awesome cuckold book because you guys are too scared to try it. And I think we're going to, and we did. It did really well. You know what I mean? So that was my niche. It was like, let's find quality literature that agents in the big four are just a little too nervous to touch. And that's become our bread and butter. You know, music, I don't know. I mean, if there's a rock revival, great. I'm just making the music I really want to hear. And that's good enough for me with music. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If you're not going to cry yourself to sleep at night because you're not making it in music, that's fine. That's well and good.
I mean, I wanted to have something that I felt had a shot. That was important to me. If like I'm jumping back in, I want to at least feel there's a shot. You know, we have fans. Like we're already ahead of the game. Like we're a brand new band. And we have fans that actually want to hear our music, and we've played 3 shows. So who knows? Who knows? Like I might come back here 3 years from now and be like, oh yeah, we're fucking signed or this or that. Who knows?
I'm holding him to that. He'll come back in 3 years. He won't be so famous that he won't do the show. Be like, psst,
I will do the show even if we get lucky with a rock revival. That's what we'll be. Yeah, if that happens, who knows? But
I'll hold you to it. But we really are going to call last call. We're really going to wrap.
Man, this was awesome.
Because where can they find you? Where can they find the press? Like, do the plugs.
Yeah, so I'll do the plugs. Clashbooks.com, like the band The Clash. Check us out there. You get books. All our books for sale. I gotta still fix the fucking Dionysus website, but we're at Dionysus Effect on Spotify and YouTube. That I mean, you don't really need a fucking website these days. But I am gonna make one. But for now, the evil great Spotify. That's where it's at. Sorry, Eve 6. I don't think you're listening to this. Eve 6 is very anti-Spotify. But yeah, that's probably the best place to find the band Dionysus Effect. I don't know when this is coming on.
Couple weeks.
All right. So yeah, still check out Darryl. Check out the Get Low cover. Keep an eye out in mid-June. Still some ways away. We'll have Don't You Tell Me. Maybe I'll have a Pog video. Maybe not. We'll see. You know,
see what we can make happen.
We'll see what we can make happen. And oh yeah, I have some books. The books that I like, check out Horror Film Poems. That's a cool one if you like horror. I wrote a collection of horror poems. It's kind of a cult book. And my other book just went out of print. I was going to say, oh yeah, that's a good one too, but it's out of print, so I got to find a new home for it. But that's a good one. Check out Clash. I'm more of a publisher and writer these days. If you do want to look up Manny DeSandra, her books are still there. I don't know when the fuck Pog edition is going to come out. I'm hoping for the summer, but who knows? But yeah, she's around, and hopefully she'll get back to, she'll finish chumming as well. And I think that's my plugs. I think that's it, man. Awesome.
Awesome. A pleasure to have you. And as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. Slayer. You can find the Patreon with bonus content and other shenanigans at patreon.com/Matt Slayer. You can find the podcast at Now We Drink on Twitter and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Nice. Cheers.